Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of the Writer's Block podcast because we are live here on April 25th, 2024. It is the perfect date. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. All you need is a light jacket. And it's especially perfect today because it is the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. And things have just officially kicked off. For those who are watching the live stream of the actual NFL Draft in Detroit, Commissioner Roger Goodell is getting ready to come up here and give his speech, and I'm sure that there will be a couple of boos thrown his way, as is customary for this event. But we are here to live react through it all and just give our instant reactions. We're all watching different feeds, so some of us might be a little bit ahead of time. We're going to try to not spoil anything, but if you see one of us making some sort of face during this draft, during this first round, just know that we will explain it before too long. I'm your host, David Howman, joined as always by my two incredible co-hosts, Chris Halling and Brandon Clements. Chris, how are you doing tonight, and how excited are you for the draft to get started?
I'm doing awesome. I mean, I understand a lot of Cowboys fans are kind of like, this isn't the most exciting they've ever felt for the draft because the way the offseason's going and the way that they're probably going to go an offensive lineman, which, like we said, it's kind of like socks for Christmas. But the Cowboys are in desperate need of some socks right now. And so, I mean, it makes sense if that's the pick. That's the pick that they should take realistically. But again, if a tremendous player falls to them, I think they should consider that. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. There's been a lot of very interesting reports. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes down. But whether or not you're excited for the Cowboys pick, it's super hard not to be excited just for the draft in general. It's so much fun.
Yeah. This is like I woke up this morning and felt like a kid on Christmas and just waiting all day for draft night, as the song goes, with a slight moderation. Draft night instead of Sunday night. Brandon, you look like you've got a really nice setup there. Is this your man cave for the draft?
Yes, it is. It is. I know. So this is the other half of my man cave. So I'm fortunate enough to have a finished basement. So normally where you guys will see me is on the other side of the stairs that are behind me. That way. There we go. Doing the reverse camera here. So on the other side of those stairs is where I normally do my setup. But I have my two TVs on where I'm at now. So I have two different feeds on, and I got my receiver all hooked up. So I'm listening to the live feed while we're doing our thing. So this is good. I mean, I'm comfortable. I'm in my chair, so I don't have to. I'm watching the draft and hanging out with my two buds. So it's gonna be a good night.
I love it. You've almost got like a Manning cast set up here with your comfy chair, just sitting there watching. You need the quarter zip. Do you have a quarter zip you can go throw on?
I don't think I have that in the wardrobe, to be honest with you. I'm not as dapper with the attire as the Manning brothers, especially Peyton.
Yeah. Well,
it's funny you say that too, because I'm sitting here watching one of the feeds.
Brian.
We got Brian Rail at
Hey, Brian, what's up, man?
How you doing, Brian? Welcome to the live draft.
Appreciate you subscribing too. I saw that on social media before I jumped on, so appreciate you, Brian.
And we have Dana Bartholomew,
friend
of the show, another contributor at Blogging the Boys. Also here, very excited. We're ready to get the draft underway. Brian, we've missed you too.
I miss you so much.
We're happy to be back.
We need to bring those roundtables back somehow, some way.
Yeah, in a way, this is like our own little roundtable here. You guys know, but we'll be having some guests on throughout the night as well. Really excited about it. Some people some familiar faces to people in Cowboys Nation. Some people that, yeah.
So, do you think it's going to be? We won't give it away yet. We can't show our cards here, but because we got to keep our awesome audience ready to roll. But we might have almost like a round table with some potential guests tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're gonna be going round the table.
Chris, anything coming up on the? I see you with your head down a little bit. Any good news breaking right now besides the AJ Brown deal?
No, that's not good news. But no, we will.
Good news for.
Here's the thing. It's good news in terms of I think that they overpaid him. I don't think AJ Brown. I think by next year he won't even be the best receiver on that team. I think Devontae Smith is the better wide receiver. with that said, it's not good for the Cowboys because CeeDee Lamb's looking at that and like, wow, my price got even more expensive because now CeeDee Lamb at minimum is looking at probably 34 because I don't see a way that he would settle for the same amount that AJ Brown is getting, especially considering the age difference and just considering their just career trajectory, and CD outperformed in this past year. So, from a Cowboys fan looking at the Eagles perspective, I like it because I think they overpaid. From the Cowboys perspective, needing CeeDee Lamb and needing to pay him, it's not good for us. I'm just looking down at my phone because I'm sharing the live stream link right now. I'm trying to get some more, some more people in here. But once that's done,
Chris is going to be our Adam Schefter for the night.
I'm not going to try and break any. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're going to see breaking news in terms of trades and stuff on our phone first. So, are we going to announce that, or are we going to wait for the TV, or like how are we going to do it?
We'll just go with the flow.
I was about to say we haven't thought about that yet. I guess.
It feels right. It's right.
Yeah,
I do want to point out. I just saw this on Twitter. Jay Glazer, who of course is one of the more plugged in insiders out there, he tweeted a minute ago. He said, "What I think is we start 6 QBs go in the first half. Ton of offensive linemen go in the first round, perhaps more than ever. After top 3 wide receivers, everyone is completely split after those 3. Everyone's all over the board after the top 2 corners and split on those 2. Teams love the running back depth, but not in the first round. And we won't hear many defensive players called in the top half of the draft." So that's a lot of insight from one of the more plugged in insiders out there.
Jay's right though, guys. I mean, Jay's right. I'm with him. I feel like Dallas Turner is like the main name that's going to be in the top 15. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I have seen some stuff about Byron Murphy potentially being the first defensive player off the board, which would be very interesting. I saw that the Falcons are very interested in him at number 8. I mean, it kind of makes sense because, the Falcons do need some defense. And I've also seen a lot of reports, too, that the 49ers could be looking to trade either Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk to move into this first round. So it's going to be
Diana Rossini of The Athletic, who's also very, very plugged in, was reporting that like a couple hours ago that they're shopping one of those 2 receivers. That would be wild if they gave up one of those guys. I assume they'd be doing that to move up and get somebody like a Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, which would just remind me of when the Titans traded AJ Brown for Treylon Burks, and that's clearly worked out for them.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly has. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Niners to do something slick like that. I mean, of the 2, though, I would say Ayuk is probably more likely, right? For the value and everything.
Probably, yeah. I feel like that's more likely, especially too because he needs a contract. I'm sorry, I was distracted because the greatest rapper of all time is on the stage right now.
Yeah, Roger Goodell, for those who don't know. Yeah, Goodell is on the stage. He's joined by Marshall Mathers III, whoever that is.
Eminem.
He's rocking some nice kicks too. I like those.
Oh yeah, no, he's always got the shoe game on.
You can't have anybody else in Detroit, but
for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's funny because Eminem, like for the longest time, he said like he's from Detroit, so he's a Lions fan, but also they were so bad for so long that he was like, I kind of like the Cowboys now. I root for the Cowboys.
Mentioned them a couple times.
Yeah. So it's I guess it's nice for him that the Lions are finally good enough for him to be super proud of them.
Man, yeah.
But it's also sad to see this famous guy that leaves the Cowboys for the Lions. That's kind of depressing for us.
Oh, they got some who's who of these Detroit Lions, man. Holy smokes, this is nice. I don't know how far you guys are, but I just saw Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders is there.
There we go. Yeah.
Chris, sorry, before your time, bud. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But listen, I'm still aware that he's the second best running back of all time behind Emmitt Smith. So I'll argue that till the day I die. I'll argue that till the day I die.
Oh, I'm a little biased, as a Syracuse guy, Jim Brown. So, college too. Ernie Davis. He was the first. He was African American Heisman Trophy winner, and he played right here in the lovely oasis of Central New York, and he grew up right there. About him. Oh man, this is good. Oh man, Hutchinson's looking fresh.
Yeah, he is. He's got the suit on.
Oh yeah, he's got it all looking nice and tight. Oh man. There he is. There's Barry. There's my guy. Oh,
Man, one of these days I'll actually be there live for the draft and get to experience it. I was thinking about it this year, but Detroit's a little bit far from where I'm at down in Little Tulsa, Oklahoma.
It's not
Yeah.
that crazy far from me and Brandon, is it?
no, it's not too bad. It's
Yeah.
not. Someday I was. It's funny you say that, Hallman. I was before I came on with you guys. I was talking to some family, and I was like, I got to get there someday. Wherever it is, I got to get there someday. If it's in Dallas, I might have to fly down.
Yeah, I mean it's bound to be in Dallas before too long.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel confident about that. I mean, Jerry Jones he'll get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit's a great city for it. I'm happy for Detroit, honestly.
Yeah,
Well,
next
it was in
year's in
Dallas,
Green
wasn't
Bay.
it?
Yeah, right.
What's that?
I said, wasn't it in Dallas pretty recently? I thought. Or
A couple years ago.
Yeah, about
Yeah, it's been a few years. Yeah.
The Bears are on the clock. I wonder who they're going to take.
Spoiler alert: it's a quarterback. Here's the thing I gotta ask you guys. So we all know Caleb Williams is going to be the pick here. Do you think Roger Goodell and the NFL people are saying to Chicago, "We know you're taking Caleb, but let's draw up some, let's get this pumped up a little bit." And here's the thing: over under. Do you think they make the pick before 5 minutes or after 5 minutes?
I think they put it in like right at 5.
Yeah.
I bet they put it in with like 35 seconds left. That's my prediction, which is so unnecessary because we know where they're going.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funnier if they
last year the Lions when the Lions ended up drafting Penei Sewell, like they put it in like with like 30 seconds taken off the clock. Like they were so quick with it.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell ended up saying he's like, yeah, the commissioner actually got mad at us because like we did it too quickly, and he told us next time, drag it out a little bit.
Oh, leave it to Dan Campbell and company to buck the trend a little bit,
Yeah.
What feed are you guys watching? Are you guys watching on ABC, ESPN? What you guys watching? NFL Network?
ESPN.
Yep. ESPN over here.
I'm watching ABC because I want to watch Nick Saban talk ball.
Makes sense.
I love Nick Saban, man. All respect to what he's done for the game.
Brian wants to know how many of us are team trade back. I'm firmly team trade back. I'm all on board with it.
Brian, I'll be honest with you. This is I'm gonna be, I guess, so on this take. If the right player is there at 24, which the player that we all might like at 24 is maybe not the player they like, but if the right player is there and they feel good about it, I think you take it at 24. If you don't think he's gonna make it, a few picks later. But if the draft does fall a certain way, Brian, I have to say I wouldn't mind trading back. I mean, that's going to be the Cowboys' MO this year. They're probably just going to be like, you know what, we waited on free agency. Why don't we just wait on the draft night, and just do that.
I think that it depends on who's on the board. I think realistically, it makes the most sense to trade back just simply because the Cowboys do need some picks. They normally strive in that 4th round, and like they've been able to draft Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard. They were able to draft Dalton Schultz, Durant Armstrong, all at minimum capable, role impact players. But I believe that it also depends on who's available. I think if someone falls to 24 and you didn't expect it, and there's no chance that the Cowboys there's no chance that they would be able to get him if they fell back to 29 or 30 or something like that, then I think you might have to pull the trigger. I think if one of those offensive linemen falls, maybe, it's gonna be interesting. I think that the Cowboys can probably trade back and get an offensive lineman though, and they could definitely set themselves up for a better offensive line next season. But I would probably lean towards trading back. But it all depends how the draft shakes out.
Yeah, I think Brian poses a good question too. If both Jackson Powers or either of the two, Jackson Powers Johnson or Graham Barton, are there, the prevailing sense among a lot of Cowboys fans seem to be it's going to be one of those two if they're both available. I think Dane Brugler yesterday, or maybe it was earlier today, he tweeted that he didn't think Powers Johnson was a fit for the Cowboys, which strikes me as interesting. Michael Gelkin, who we're all very familiar with, and he's got a pretty good pulse on the Cowboys. Yesterday, he put out kind of a draft profile of West Virginia center Zach Frazier. Talked about how the Cowboys are interested in him, how the fact that they had a formal interview with him at the Combine. They did not do a top 30 draft visit with him, which can sometimes indicate that they have no questions, like they know everything about him that they need to know. They've made up their mind on him. And also that Zach Frazier has a seal of approval from Zach Martin. So it sounds like he's kind of hinting that Zach Frazier is the guy they might target potentially after trading down. Although if Graham Barton is there, which a lot of mocks, recently have indicated that he probably will not be available at 24, that might complicate things. But to your point, it really does just depend on how the draft board falls. And, a few years ago, nobody thought, I think you could probably scour every single mock draft and not find a single one out there that has the Cowboys landing CeeDee Lamb when they landed him. So crazy things happen all the time. And I'm hoping we get to see some craziness soon. We're about to hit the 5-minute mark with the Bears. And
so it's gone past 5.
It's definitely, I guess the over is correct on this one. Goodell's probably like, yeah, we got to hold on a minute here, guys. I've been reading, obviously, as we all know, it's smokescreen season. We obviously know all that. I was reading some interesting stuff that the Cowboys are not as high on Jackson Powers Johnson as some other players, which I found was interesting.
Yeah, I've read that as well. I think it has to do with the injury concerns. His medicals seem to be a little bit in question. He's had some hip problems. He had a groin issue in college. He's had concussions. So I mean, he's definitely been beat up. But I think if he's healthy, he's the best center in this draft, I believe. So I don't know. I mean, it may come down to who the Cowboys feel the most comfortable with year one or
pick is in.
Pick is in.
Let's see. Is in. Seems like they finally made a decision.
Yeah, let's see if Jaden Daniels is walking up to the podium.
Guys, I think it might be Bo Nix.
Yeah, Michael Penix. That would be a shock.
Chris, you would be devastated if Michael Penix wasn't there.
If he's already off the board, man, that throws my whole mock in shambles.
I'm curious to see if there's going to be any big trades coming up, because obviously I think
there has to be.
I was reading stuff that 2 teams in the NFC East, obviously not the Cowboys, because Cowboys are just kind of sitting still here, it seems. But Giants and Eagles are being very active in the top. Like the Giants are trying to move up to the top 4.
Yeah, I think that my prediction is I think we see Bears take Williams here. We see Washington take Daniels, and then we see the Patriots take May. But I think 4 is where it gets interesting. I could see the Giants maybe trying to move up to that spot, and who knows, take a JJ McCarthy maybe. That would be interesting.
I'll be honest, guys. Like I feel like they're going to be able to get a quarterback at 6.
I agree. I don't think they're going to miss out on JJ McCarthy unless someone trades up to 5 with the LA Chargers. I mean, who knows? Jim Harbaugh is there now, so maybe if there was any coach to move on from Justin Herbert, it's being announced now.
Yeah,
but hey, the biggest shocker off the board, guys. All right,
man. I wonder who.
Wow,
Caleb Williams.
That was quite.
Commissioner Goodell is up at the podium.
Hey, I don't know if you guys heard.
Wow!
Did you guys hear that Commissioner Goodell is he's recovering from back surgery? So they asked him before the draft started how his back's holding up, and he's like, should be all right for the big hugs. we'll see how that goes tonight, especially the offense.
We'll see if there's any Christian Wilkins.
Honestly, Brandon, I thought you were like leading up for a joke right there. I was like, where's this going?
No, I heard that because he was on with Greeny on ESPN.
Yeah.
I watched the ESPN coverage, and I'm like, well, I mean, I didn't know he had the back surgery, but hey, there's a hug. I mean, here, let's be honest. It's Caleb Williams. I'm not too concerned about Caleb Williams doing any damage. It's not like he's 350-pound offensive lineman or defensive lineman. So
yeah,
I think Goodell's safe there.
Yeah, Are y'all sold on Caleb Williams? I know obviously we haven't talked a whole lot about quarterbacks except for Joe Milton III, of course.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of controversy around Caleb Williams. I think really mostly just because we needed something to talk about because everybody knew he was going first overall. But Brandon, what are your thoughts on Caleb?
So for me, I'm not as high on Caleb as some other people are. I don't necessarily think he's a bust, but for me personally, Jaden Daniels to me is the number one quarterback in this class for me. And yes, I know I'm seeing Chris shaking his head.
Ugh.
We had a little brief back and forth on social media. Got to save
it. He's not even number 2. He's number 3.
Shoot, I'll say this. I would probably say if I had to put it this way, I would do, and this is just me, I would say Jaden Daniels is my number one quarterback. I love Michael Penix. I like him as number 2, and then Caleb would be 3 for me. I'm just, and I think I would have to probably put, I'd put May probably right after that. Yeah, I'd put May after that. I'm not as high on May either as some people are, aka Chris. But honestly, I would rather draft JJ McCarthy later on than reach for May. That's just me. I'm just not as sold on him, to be honest.
That's outrageous. For starters, I think Caleb Williams is truly a generational prospect, just in terms of throwing the ball, his ability to turn plays from nothing into something. He reminds you a lot of Patrick Mahomes in that sense. Now, it's crazy to compare anyone to Patrick Mahomes because, I mean, if Caleb Williams comes in and wins 3 Super Bowls so early in his career, then, he truly lived up to that name. But I don't think that that's the case. I think that Caleb Williams, though, I think he has all the talent. I think that he is a little bit of a diva, and he may be a little bit, I think he may have a little bit of a high ego, but I still think he's by far the best quarterback prospect in this draft class, and I definitely have Drake May at number 2. I think that I think he has a better arm than Jaden Daniels. I think he's a better decision maker than Jaden Daniels, and I think
that's decision making.
I also believe that Drake May, I believe that his play style is more likely to succeed in the long run in the NFL at the next level than Jaden Daniels. The last
here's what I have to say about
the last Washington quarterback who had that similar kind of play style got hurt pretty early in his career in RG3. So
he's
I don't know.
Player than RG. He's different.
I don't know. Maybe
here's what I'll say about decision making. Jaden Daniels, coming out of high school, chose to go to Arizona State. So right there, he's got some very good decision making right there. And then when he did transfer, even though it's hard to leave a college football mecca like Arizona State, the place he went to, he won a whole lot of games. He won the Heisman. Clearly he made the right decision. And
he also had the best receiving class. I mean, he also had the best receiving class in college football too. I mean,
he literally laid it in our hands.
Both of his receivers are going to go arguably top 15 in this class. Malik Neighbors.
Okay, so what happens if Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas both turn out to not be good, and then we're looking back at this and saying, "Oh, Jaden Daniels elevated those guys." Another guy that he played with back at Arizona State, 2 guys that he played with at Arizona State that are in this draft, and we both talked about quite a bit and have gotten a lot of love. Ricky Pierce all out of Florida, and Johnny Wilson out of Florida State. So those are 2 guys as well that have caught passes from Jaden Daniels, are going to be doing it on Sundays now before too long.
I'm not sold on Daniels. I think he's the 3rd best quarterback in this class.
You're crazy, bro. You're crazy.
Well, hey, listen, we'll revisit this week 8.
Let me ask you this. So, 70.
Well, I feel we'll revisit this every week.
Yeah.
Come on now. That game against Florida was ridiculous. Come on. He did some things in the SEC, which is the next level just below the NFL. He ran for so many yards and he passed. I think it was 200 yards rushing, 300 yards passing, some crazy stat like that. He broke a record in that aspect. I can't remember the exact stat off the top of my head, but he had a monster game. And it's he can pass the ball. Clearly, in the SEC, he completed 72% of his passes. That's pretty darn good. And I mean, looking at his ratios, he's
hard to do.
Yeah, that's dude. And here's the thing. And just looking at his numbers. So let's see. He played in the SEC. Let's see. He threw for 40 touchdowns and 4 picks in the SEC. Drake May struggled against Syracuse at times. Okay, no, and you know how much I love my Syracuse Orange, but there were some games that Drake May looked like a 3rd-round pick in my book.
Oh no, I'm sold on the arm talent.
Well, we're going to find out what Washington thinks because the pick is in, and they're getting ready to announce it. There's Dan Quinn.
I'm ahead of you guys, so I'll try not to show too much here.
I'm like 96% sure it's going to be Jaden Daniels, but I'm happy because I think that's the wrong decision.
I think it's the right decision for the Commanders, and I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it too. It's going to be hard for me rooting against Dan Quinn, rooting against Jaden Daniels, and Tyler Biadasz at center. So that's going to struggle for me. I know there's other Cowboys in Washington, but those were the first 3 that came to mind.
Oh, here we go. I'm looking at and the pick's in. It hasn't come in yet. So I'm looking here. Jaden Daniels ran for 200 yards and then passed for 350 in a game.
I just don't see him being able to run for 200 yards at the next level.
That wasn't Wofford though. It was literally an SEC team. I think it was Florida.
Florida's not very good.
All right, I'm gonna see the pick now, guys. I'll let you guys.
You've got Brandon White in the corner.
I appreciate you, Brandon. He knows ball.
And Brian, I think we're gonna.
Brian, if that happens, I'm walking out right now. I'm ending the stream. That's.
I like that pick.
Although I will say, JJ McCarthy at 24 is good value.
It is.
All right.
Good old Ron is at the podium, and yep.
Oh, I'm a little ahead of you. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful. Yep, not surprised. Jaden Daniels, the truth. It's a beautiful thing. I
like the suit though. I will say he's got a nice suit on.
He's got a nice suit on. He's got a great game. He's got a great decision-making ability. He sees the field well.
Got a lot of talent, hard worker, good work ethic, good leadership. Honestly, when he committed to Arizona State, and I'm not just doing this for the bit, although I do take joy in it, but when he first committed to Arizona State, I spent like the entire day just watching his high school highlights because he was like the highest rated quarterback recruit we'd ever landed, and I was watching his high school highlights like all day long, and this was like around the time when I think this was going into the 2019 season. So we had seen a good amount of Dak Prescott, and I remember saying he reminds me of like a slimmer Dak Prescott. Now, obviously, his game has evolved significantly from what Dak Prescott is. He's much more of a dual threat type, and I would say Dak Prescott is a better, more talented passer right now. But granted, that's an unfair comparison at this point. But it's so exciting for me to have seen where Jaden Daniels started, and now he's here being as the second overall pick in the draft, and that's really, really cool. Even though he's going to be facing the Cowboys twice a year, but Mike Zimmer will put him in the blender for sure.
It's showing Arizona State highlights right now, actually.
It sure is. Yeah. Throwing touchdowns to Brandon Ayuk.
Hey, I'm just listening to Nick Saban just hyping him up. He's like a hype man over here. He's loving it. I trust Nick Saban over most people. I mean, he knows things about ball. So
you trust Nick Saban more than you trust me? Come on now, crazy.
sorry, Chris.
That's crazy.
Nick Saban was playing his head out facing Jaden Daniels. That should tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here I'm just listening to Nick Saban just glow about the kid. So I mean, obviously, you know how I feel. I told you guys he's my number one guy. I mean, it sucks though for the next 10 plus years. Two times a year he's going to face the boys. I'm not really looking forward to that part of it.
It must suck being drafted by the Washington Commanders. Like you have the worst branding in the NFL. Like that, they have no swag.
I'm sure the money will make up.
They have no. I guess, yeah.
Now here's the question with the Patriots on the clock, because there's been a lot of rumors going back and forth on what they're going to do. The betting markets like moved pretty strongly in favor of JJ McCarthy being the guy. A lot of people are still saying Drake May is going to be the guy. There's still been some smoke that they may potentially trade down. The Minnesota Vikings, of course, are looming with 2 first-round picks that they're trying to trade up to get their quarterback. What do we think the Patriots are going to do here, Brandon?
I think they go Drake May. I think it's going to be Drake May. I mean, if I was a Patriots fan, I mean, I don't know how happy I'd be about that because I would rather go in a different direction here. I think the Patriots, if they were smart, they would have traded out, but the pick is in, so obviously I think they're gonna keep that pick. But I would have traded out, got some more picks because they need more than a quarterback. They need some weapons. I would have liked to see them maybe slide back a little bit and get one of those receivers, and then wait a little bit later and get a quarterback. Because they're, I do feel like a Bo Nix is going to be the end of the first round. I feel like they could slide back in and make and get their quarterback receiver combo going. But I think they're going Drake May right now.
I think they go quarterback. I'm leaning Drake May, but who knows? Maybe they throw a curveball and they go JJ McCarthy. I think Drake May though.
I think they should do Drake May. I don't know what they actually will do. I think Drake May, if it's between Drake May and JJ McCarthy, I think there's a pretty large talent gap there in favor of May. I think also I had said on Twitter when I got in the middle of you two, duking it out about May and Jaden Daniels. I think both of them are going to be heavily dependent on the fit with the offense that they go to. I think May would be a really good fit in the offense that offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, who's a Mike McCarthy disciple, is going to run in New England. So I think that would be a good fit there. I also, for the record, think Jaden Daniels is a good fit with Cliff Kingsbury, the Ryan Gosling lookalike that's running the offense in Washington now. So I think that's the best pick for them, but who knows? Maybe they like JJ McCarthy more. The last time that New England took a Michigan quarterback, it did work out for them.
Yeah, you're right.
Chris, I know you love taking your Michigan players.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Junior Colson is really the only Michigan player I'd like the Cowboys to consider in this draft. But I mean,
how do you play Corum? If Brooks is off the board, if Benson's off the board, and Corum's still there,
the size concerns me a little bit. Honestly, like we already have a small running back in Deuce Vaughn. I feel like at the end of the day, we got to get some beef in there. We got to get some
compared to Deuce Vaughn, Corum is gigantic.
Oh, it's your poker face.
That's Brandon's poker face. So he's already seen what's happening.
Yeah, he's seeing what's happening. Okay, well that just.
I'm gonna guess it's Byron Murphy.
Drake May.
Yeah, I think it's been chalk so far. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think this is when it kind of gets interesting. I mean, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the likely selection here. But I mean, maybe they trade down. Maybe a team is really trying to move up and secure JJ McCarthy. I feel like there's no reason to though, because I don't see Arizona taking JJ McCarthy. The Chargers would be absolutely insane. Even if, let's say, the money was right and Jim Harbaugh just wanted JJ McCarthy over Justin Herbert, that's outrageous. But the money is not right for that. If they moved on from Justin Herbert, it'd be like a $62 million dead cap. And I was about to say they can't do that. They can't afford that. So
I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. This is what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to take Joe Alt out of Notre Dame.
I could see, though, one of these teams, I could see the Vikings moving up to number 5, trying to jump the Giants, because the Giants could be looking at JJ McCarthy. And I think teams around the league can see that. And apparently JJ McCarthy said that himself. He said that he spent more time with the Giants than any other team in this whole process for him. So I could see maybe the Vikings. Apparently the Vikings really want a quarterback. If the Broncos really want a quarterback, I think that's our first trade. I think we see the Chargers drop a little bit. And I don't know. I think that's my prediction. But if they stay, I think the Chargers actually go Malik Neighbors. I think if they stay, I think they go with the wide receiver.
Personally, I think I'd be surprised if the Cardinals don't trade this pick right here, just because their GM Monty Ossenfort, he's been saying, to everybody that will listen, hey, the pick is available. We're not going to trade until we're on the clock, but the pick is available. And last year, of course, he traded down and then traded back up. And
I just want to say something real quick. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
It's showing Myers Park High School right now. I actually saw Drake May play high school basketball. Myers Park is in the same county, I believe, is the high school that I was in. I don't know, but they came and they played, and he was a couple years younger than me, so I wasn't playing, but he's a baller. He was by far the best player on that basketball team. And
so
it makes sense. You're such a Drake May fan. No, but I mean that's kind of cool.
By the way, though, I have to say though, man, those the May parents, they created some athletic genes, man. Those are some genes, bro.
Yeah, Yeah, well, I mean, like, here's the thing. It's crazy because Drake May, obviously a much higher draft pick than Luke May, but Luke May is definitely the bigger legend in Carolina after what he did to Kentucky in that Elite Eight that led them to winning the national championship.
You know what? I got to tell you, though, that gene pool is strong, though, because they all look alike, too.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, my goodness. The only difference with Luke is he got a nice beard going on.
Yeah.
He's got a beard, not as good as mine, but he's got a nice.
I'm more similar to Drake May when it comes to those genes. I can't grow any.
Brandon and I can't relate to that.
What's that?
Brandon and I can't relate to that.
Oh, height? Yeah, no, that's for sure. Wait, so Chris, I got to ask you, though. Who do you think is going to take Marvin Harrison? Do you think it's the Cardinals?
I think it's the Cardinals, yeah.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
You know why?
Why?
Because I don't want Marvin Harrison as a Giant.
Oh, yeah. I really hope that's not the case. I hope the Giants go with JJ McCarthy. Honestly, that's my hope, because I don't want to see any of those wide receivers really. But I mean, also it may be better to see those wide receivers with Daniel Jones than it is to see JJ McCarthy with the wide receivers they have. So I don't know.
I think JJ McCarthy's best fit is, I believe it's pick 11 with the Vikes. I think that would be a great.
I think his best fit is the Vikings, but okay. So it says the Cardinals pick is in, so they did not trade it.
They're going to go with the son of a Syracuse football legend, Marvin Harrison Jr. So that's what I'm predicting.
I'd be shocked if it's not Harrison here.
That's
Budda Baker.
the closest you're going to get to a Syracuse player being drafted this year.
Hey, don't worry about. Hey, let me tell you something though. Fran Brown is going to be bringing our boys back. We've already got a 5-star locked in for 2026. All right,
I'm sure he's going to stay locked in.
Oh, he's going to stay locked in because Fran Brown's bringing. Too bad for Chris, because what's going to happen is Clemson's going to be on the downtrend and Syracuse on the upswing, baby.
I don't think so. I think even if Clemson goes on a down track, their down track is still better than Syracuse's.
You're crazy. Syracuse is going to win at least 9 games next year.
All right, I don't know what kind of bet we're allowed to do, but
we'll talk about that.
That's like some Dak Prescott 50 touchdowns and 10,000 passing yards or whatever crazy number it was.
I'll bet anything you want that the Syracuse Orange do not hit 9 wins next season.
You're crazy. I think they got a chance.
I would have to take that action.
Yeah.
Syracuse going to be around the right square in the playoff conversation next year. I'm just telling you guys right now, that spring game, I know it's a spring game, but boy, oh boy, they just look bigger, faster, stronger. They look like an NFL team.
Roger Goodell is making his way to the podium.
All right, we're going to find out who the Cardinals are picking. I feel like it's got to be Marvin Harrison Jr. if they are staying the pick.
It's got to be.
Yeah, I would say it was a great choice by the Cardinals. I'll let you guys catch up.
Yeah. Makes
now
sense.
The draft starts at 5, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, about to say now is when it gets interesting because I feel like those first 4 players, regardless of what teams took them, were pretty locked in. I felt like, unless it was a shock with JJ McCarthy. Now it gets interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I could see because I could see somebody like you guys. I think we were talking about it a minute ago. I could see the Chargers sliding out now.
I think so too. I'm watching out for the Vikings or the Broncos right here.
Yeah, this could be where one of those
Broncos. What do you mean? What do you mean the Broncos? They got Zach Wilson, guys. That's a steal.
My favorite thing, and I hope that they actually do it, is give Zach Wilson number 3, and that way they don't have to change any of the uniforms that they've sold, the jerseys.
It's a valid point. That'd be smart. That would be smart. I'll be honest with you guys. If the Chargers stay here, I think they're gonna go receiver or Joe Alt, because that receiving room they lost everybody.
There have been rumors though that
they have no weapons.
Jim Harbaugh is in love with Alabama tackle J.C. Latham, which of course it'd be a lot earlier than most mock drafts have him going, but Jim Harbaugh doesn't always do it by the book.
Well, that's natural. I mean, but let's be honest. They lost Mike Williams. They lost Keenan Allen. They got to get a receiver. If I'm a betting man here, I would say they're probably going to take Malik Neighbors if it's a receiver.
Yeah, I don't see how after you get rid of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams that you don't then go receiver when there's, two talented guys like Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze. And I will say that the Chargers do have a receiver on their roster that we all know and love, friend of the show, Simi Fihoko. So I've always been singing his praises and saying that he deserved a better shot here in Dallas, and maybe he's going to get his chance to shine here in Los Angeles. I would be certainly be very happy for him to get that opportunity, and he would ball out for sure. But at the same time, you need more than just one receiver. So I think you should go with whoever you like more between Neighbors and Odunze.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see much of a difference there. Like, to me, it's splitting hairs. Like, if you go with Odunze or Neighbors, I like them both.
Apparently, Adam Schefter, or no, it was Ian Rappaport just said that the Patriots had big time trade offers for that number 3 pick, and they stayed.
I bet they did.
Yeah. So to me, I'm sure that maybe those trade offers aren't as aggressive for JJ McCarthy as they would have been for Drake May, but I really think if the Chargers get a big offer here, then they should consider.
Well, they need some more. They need more than just one good player here. They need.
I think it's arguable that they have the worst supporting cast in the NFL right now around the quarterback. Like, they don't really have a clear wide receiver one. Their running back is Gus Edwards, which, he's a great, complimentary back, but I don't think he can be the number one guy really on a successful team that's not maybe the Ravens, because the Ravens have such a good run scheme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. It hasn't said the pick is in, and
I was thinking the same thing.
That being said, the Chargers offensive coordinator is Greg Roman, who not too long ago was the Ravens offensive coordinator and helped implement that great run scheme that Gus Edwards was always feasting behind. So
I'm guessing Brian.
He knows the scheme.
I was about to say, I'm guessing Brian doesn't want Jonathan Brooks because he says that they should take the Texas running back right here. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be higher than Bijan Robinson went last year.
Yeah, honestly, I think if there was someone like a Bijan, we could definitely see him go at a place like this. But
hey, Chris, I'm a little late. This is a little bit late here, but we're just doing a live thing. My wife said that Drake May's a bust.
That's okay.
So just let you know.
It's okay.
And then, okay, by the way, she is a Duke fan, so take that.
Oh yeah, that checks out. It's okay being the younger brother of the state. You honestly might be the youngest brother of the state after what NC State just did.
Yeah, there's a few North Carolina schools out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an NC school everywhere in that. It's like every quadrant of that state.
I went to the distant cousin in North Carolina of UNC Charlotte. So that's
Wake Forest in North Carolina, or is that South Carolina?
Is where?
Wake Forest.
Yes,
North.
It is. Yeah.
Or North.
Wake Forest is North Carolina.
Winston-Salem.
Yeah. We're at 3 minutes just about now, and no pick is in, no trade. If I had to guess, they're fielding offers right now.
I'm at 2:55 right now on the clock, and they still got nothing. I'm telling you right now, they're working a trade right now.
Well,
they're trying to work.
Guys upset. Maybe. But both Schefter and Ian Rappaport tweeted that they are picking and not trading.
Well, so, I guess we'll find out here.
Unless we see an absolute stunner here, JJ McCarthy will be available at 6 if that's the Giants pick.
Man, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I hope that happens. I think JJ McCarthy could be a winner. But I don't think he's worth a top 10 pick. I think JJ McCarthy could be a really good game manager, maybe. But
hey guys, part of me wants to see Malik Neighbors here because I know the Giants have been linked to Neighbors.
Yeah, I hope it's Neighbors too. Keep him out of the NFC, specifically the NFC East.
Yeah, but then Odunze might be there though, So
yeah,
I don't know why, but I think I think the Giants are going to go quarterback at 6. I just got this feeling they're going to overspend like they did for.
What if they go Michael Penix? We're laughing, but Michael Penix is going to be a top 15 pick in my opinion.
Look, this is what I'll say about that. It's not completely crazy. It would be a shock because every single mock draft out there has McCarthy going before Penix, and I think rightfully so. But also Dable and Joe Shane, the GM for the Giants, they both came from Buffalo. Half of that staff and front office came from Buffalo. And of course, they were successful getting a guy like Josh Allen, who just has an absolute cannon of an arm. And, he had a few different issues as well coming into the draft, and people weren't so sure that he was going to work out. And obviously, Michael Penix, I'm not saying he's the exact same type of player as Josh Allen. They do have different play styles, but maybe like that's, one of the things that they're looking for is like, we want a guy that can just absolutely launch it. And that's Michael Penix Jr. So
I would be more
it could
concerned.
happen.
I would be more scared playing Michael Penix than playing JJ McCarthy twice a year. I
Well,
think Michael
If
Penix
it's Michael
has better
Penix
talent.
Jr., then you're only going to have to play him twice a year for like 4 more years because he's like already 35.
Oh my goodness. He's 24.
Oh, hey, easy now. He ain't that old. Come
He's 24. Quarterback position. I mean, what? Dak is 30 now, right? Right?
Yeah,
30?
he's
Yeah.
the longest tenured quarterback in the
Yeah.
NFL. It's crazy.
on. That is crazy, dude.
That may
Pick his
change
hand.
though after this upcoming season. We're ready to have that conversation.
I'm not ready to have that conversation.
Yo, did you guys see that poll on Blogging the Boys where like 87% want to trade Dak?
I think 80 or I think that much percentage. I mean, it said multiple picks, and
Yeah, I know, but I mean, just even a trade for Dak Prescott.
I don't know. I think a lot of logical fans would trade Dak Prescott for multiple picks, depending on what the picks are. But if you can get 2 first-round picks for Dak Prescott at this point, and they're relatively good first-round picks, I don't know how you say
It
no.
depends on the team you're sending him to, though. A team that's already pretty well made, like then you're that's like 2
Yeah, I know.
28th overall picks.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be to a relatively bad. Okay, for instance,
Like, if you send him to the Raiders,
yeah. but see, if we send the Cowboys trade him to the Raiders, then we actually are talking about a Michael Penix situation because he could still be on the board then.
All right, Rodgers about to be coming out to make the pick right now.
we're gonna see.
I'm predicting
real
Joe
quick
Alt. I'm
prediction.
changing it. I'm
You say
changing it.
Joe
I
Alt?
haven't seen anything. My gut is telling me Joe
I'll
Alt.
say Joe Alt.
Yeah, that's
My gut
prediction.
is J.C. Latham.
Okay.
Let's see.
We'll see.
Oh, here we go.
We're all waiting with bated breath. We actually have something riding on this one. We have to be right about it. I can hear the.
Oh, so you hear mine?
No, you're good. You're good. I'll just keep talking during it. All right, there you go.
Winner, chicken parm dinner, baby.
All right. Fair
And that
enough.
means JJ McCarthy or Malik Neighbors here, folks.
What if it's neither? What if I'm serious? What if
It's
it's
interesting here?
What if it's a different player? I could honestly, if it's not. I didn't even know that Joe.
Yo, Joe Alt is so tall they had to move the camera back because to get him in frame. Holy shnikes. He's like what, 6'9"?
6'8", they just said. 6'8",
So he's like
321.
So he's like an inch. He's actually taller than Chris then. That's good.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
he's got a little weight on me though. I don't know. I could still hit him with a little swim move. I could hit him with a little, with a little cut. I don't know. I think I could get him on the outside.
I'll just do the Deuce Vaughn. I'll just get behind a big lineman and then I'll come up one side and you're gonna be out the other and I'll be gone. Because I'm just that short.
It's not Dak shade, Brandon. It's just Cowboys Cowboys realism. I think. I don't know. I
agree with Brandon White.
I think he was referring to me getting past Joe Alt, though. I don't think he was referring to me talking about Dak Prescott. But in fairness, no. I think there's a team out there who would trade 2 firsts for Dak, but I think it's a contending team. I don't think that it's a team like the Raiders or a team like the Titans or someone like that. I think it would be a team that's picking kind of high. So I don't know. But yeah, this is when it gets interesting because, I mean, obviously this impacts the Cowboys directly because it's a division opponent, but we could be looking at the new quarterback for the Giants or potentially one of the best targets in the draft, and either Malik Neighbors or they go Romo Dunze. So I don't know. I mean,
So, all right, so
or what if they go Brock Bowers? I mean, I know they have Darren Waller, but I think Brock Bowers is really a top tier talent. I think he's a top 10 talent, and I think he should go in the top 10. And
Brock's gonna. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
I hope it's not Brock.
Brock's falling, guys. He'll be in the teens.
I would be shocked if he fell past the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, if you give a guy like him an elite tight end like that, they kind of need a tight end too.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, and we're going to see that in a little
Giants
bit.
Hey guys,
We do have real quick, Brandon. We do have our first guest of the night that we're going to be bringing on, and he's a Cardinals expert that'll be breaking down everything to do with the Cardinals and the fact that they didn't trade. They stuck and went with Marvin Harrison Jr. Welcome, the deputy editor at All Cardinals, as well as the host of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. Happy to bring on another Sun Devil here. Please welcome Richie Bradshaw. Richie, how are you doing tonight?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
We're doing great. We're waiting to see if the Giants are going to draft a quarterback or what they're going to do and how it will affect the Cowboys. But tell us what the Cardinals. I mean, everyone was talking about they might trade down. They stuck with the pick. What's the general sense in Arizona?
I will tell you that the Cardinals fans are going to be very excited about this pick. We've been talking about, not even as Cardinal fans, just as a draft community, how much we love Marvin Harrison Jr. He's the complete package. He's big, he's tall, he's long, he's got the radius to catch anything in his zip code. He's fast. He's just big play. What Gus Johnson calls him, Maserati Marv. Like, he is just somebody that you put the ball up for him. Not only is he going to catch it, but he's going to make a big play. And the Cardinals for quite some time, because they had it for 1 year with DeAndre Hopkins, and then he was banged up, and then he was suspended. So they've been looking for that kind of player to plug in with Kyler Murray. So giving him that true established number one receiver is, in theory, very, very good for them to finally get that offense over the top. You have a Pro Bowl level quarterback and some pieces on offense, but the one thing you were missing was an elite receiver, and now you should have that.
Yeah, and it's hard to get better than Marvin Harrison Jr. It feels like for a couple of years now we've been talking about, man, when is he going to be draft eligible? Because so many teams wanted him, and Cardinals seems like they definitely got a good one. Going to be fun watching him and Kyler Murray connecting.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Like, would you have rather them have traded back and get a few more draft picks, or are you happy with Harrison? This is what you wanted more than the trade.
You know, that's really tough because it's one of those situations where you love the idea of getting a ton of assets and getting more ammo and whatnot. But at the same time, you also have to understand as a general manager and from a team building asset that eventually you have to start making picks. You can't continue to trade down over and over again. At some point, you need to stick and pick a talented player. The Cardinals, who knows? Maybe they did get an absolute gold mine offered to them. Yes. Not landmine. Very much the opposite of that. They could have been offered that, but the important thing for them is that there was a elite caliber player, somebody that we've been talking about as a borderline generational player. We do throw that around a lot, but he is, at worst, he's an elite prospect at a position you need. So if the Cardinals didn't get what they were hoping to get, they at worst ended up with a terrific player that can plug and play for them.
Richie, I gotta ask you. This is Brandon. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm a Syracuse guy, and Marvin Harrison Sr. played at Syracuse University. So
yes,
we actually were very disappointed that he didn't come up to the Carrier Dome and play some ball for us. But we get it; it's Ohio State and everything. So I do have to ask: is what other needs are you looking for going forward? Like what do you want to see the Cardinals do next after this? Now that they got the number one receiver in the draft.
Now that you got the number one receiver, you definitely need to look to add some pieces to the defense. The secondary, to me, is the most glaring need. They did bring in Sean Murphy-Bunting. They have Garrett Williams, who they're very high on from last year's class, but they still need somebody to really put them over the top. And you needed it a corner because they've got Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson at safety, so they're not lacking there. But if a player like a Cooper DeJean or Kool-Aid McKinstry or a Nate Wiggins, anybody like that, I think that'd be a good pick for them, especially when you consider 27. It's at the end of the first round. You're not, quote unquote, reaching for anyone at that point in time. I would also tell you that it truly just needs to be best player available on the defensive side of the football. I know a lot of people think that Jerzon, Johnny Newton, is someone who's slipping. I don't know how much I buy into that, but I'll tell you, if he's at 27, that's someone that you should be ecstatic to go up and place the card there for the commissioner to read.
Well, I'll say that, we've done a lot of mock drafts, and each time that Newton has fallen to 24, we've been really excited because the Cowboys definitely need that. But
it'd be pretty fun to plug him in with that front with Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence and Adigizua and everyone.
100%. But I did want to say, I'm a big fan of Garrett Williams, not because I'm a Syracuse fan, but because me and Garrett Williams actually go way back. I played middle school football and basketball with him, and high school basketball with him as well. Yeah, we went to the same school, Hickory Ridge in Harrisburg, North Carolina. So I've known him for a long time. And how do you feel about his ability to bounce back and have a really good sophomore season? Do you think that he's going to have a good consistent role in this Arizona Cardinals defense heading forward?
I do. I actually really liked Garrett coming out. I know that he was coming off the ACL tear, which pushed him down the board a little bit, but the Cardinals are very high on him. And he's somebody that I envision as a long-term player for the team. I look at a Sean Murphy-Bunting, and I think that he's good to kind of get the ball rolling while they transition this defense and get them more ready down the road. But I do view Garrett Williams, and I know a lot of other people see Garrett Williams as well, as one of the potential founding pieces of the secondary. The idea of having him lined up across from another day one corner is something that Cardinals fans should be very excited about. But Garrett Williams, absolutely somebody who, as long as everything plays out, should be one of the keystones to remaking that secondary under Jonathan Gannon.
Awesome.
Right on. And of course, Cowboys are a little too familiar with Jonathan Gannon, having faced him twice a year when he was the Eagles defensive coordinator. Then, of course, his first career win as the Cardinals head coach came at the expense of the Dallas Cowboys. So, now that we're past that, and the Cowboys don't have to face the Cardinals this year, we can be excited for Garrett Williams. We can be excited for Marvin Harrison Jr. We can even be excited for Kyler Murray. And of course, Cowboys are also generally not too crazy about the 49ers, given their history in the last few games that they face each other. So it's entirely possible that we may even be rooting for the Cardinals this year to make some noise in that NFC West. And maybe Maserati Marv is going to be what puts them over the top.
Yeah, here's hoping. I can tell you this for sure. Whenever he decides to sign with I can't remember if it's the NFLPA or whoever is going to allow the jerseys to be made, as soon as they get that permission, it's going to fly off the store. I know, living in Arizona, I feel like every time I go out, I'm probably going to see a number 18 Marvin Harrison jersey, provided he buys the rights from BJ Ujulari, who currently has 18. But I feel like you can't say no.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely can't say no. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people play Madden and a Madden Ultimate Team, and tonight, they're coming out with these draft player cards, and you won't be able to play with Marvin Harrison Jr. tonight because he's not going to be in any football game as of right now.
Which is weird. I don't think I've seen that before. So I guess we'll see what happens next for him. But like I said, whenever he does end up signing that deal or whatever, his jerseys are going to fly off the shelves.
Mm-hmm. Now, Richie, I got to ask you. I know. Obviously, James Conner's on the roster, and I know you got. Let's see, DeMercado, I believe, is also on the roster as well.
Yes.
Do you think the Cardinals throughout the draft are going to draft another running back, or what are your thoughts on that?
It's a really interesting situation with the running back position. This isn't a class that's got one elite guy, but there are several very talented players like Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson. You got the kid at Tennessee, Jalen Wright at Tennessee, Bucky Irving. There's a lot of very talented running backs here. So I think the Cardinals could look to add a guy on day 3, see if a Braylon Allen decides to be available then. I think that they could look at the position. But James Conner is also playing at a level that's high enough to where they may not feel the need to draft a guy now. And as we all know, with the running back position, it's pretty it's a lot easier than other positions to be able to find value late in the draft or as undrafted free agents. And again, this isn't a elite running back class, but there's a lot of names to be had. So if the Cardinals do decide to add someone behind James Conner, I wouldn't be surprised.
Dude, I got a follow up to that. With James Conner, I know he's turning 29 here in the next few days. Do you get nervous about that close to 30, like falling off with all his injuries and everything? Does that concern you at all right now?
It's really weird because he does get nicked up a lot. I don't know that I get overly concerned because he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the most elusive guy in the world. He really predicates a lot of this game on being able to run guys over. And if there is something that is going to be a little more, as we would say, like transferable, I guess, it would be a power style kind of running. Now, they should definitely have someone in the wings. I know that DeMercado is someone that the fans are high on. I don't know how I feel about him as being kind of one of the featured guys there, but they'll be looking for a successor, if not this year, next year. As far as if I'm worried about James Conner turning 29, I'm not as worried, but we definitely shouldn't expect him to repeat what he did last year as a 1,000-yard runner.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that because I get nervous with running backs as they get close to 30 personally. I mean, as a Cowboys fan here, Zeke kind of fell off a little bit. And so that kind of makes me nervous. I mean, for me, historically speaking, you see these players, especially at the running back position, they get close to 30, and it's kind of done. I got to ask you. I know you're an Arizona guy. What did you think of the J.C. Latham pick here for Tennessee? That's interesting.
Oh, I didn't even see that. So that's not overly surprising, right? Because we've seen the last 24 hours that Latham is getting more and more and more hype and everything. I'm really interested because I know that Latham can play left and right, but it feels like this is another Jonah Williams situation for an Alabama offensive tackle who, sure, he could play left, but he should probably play right. And for the Tennessee Titans, they're just looking to remake their offensive line in general. They obviously took Peter Skoronski last year to get that process started. So if they want to play him at right, I like it. If they end up deciding to make him a left, it'll definitely be something to pay attention to.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. And it's just curious to see what Tennessee is doing, with the new coaching staff and everything. Before you go, I do have to ask this.
Yes.
Because I said you also host the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. You're a huge Sun Devil fan.
Big time.
Now, of course, it's been an eventful week for Arizona State fans. With the NCAA infractions case being handed down. Of course, Jayden Daniels was kind of involved in that in a little bit, and of course that was part of what prompted him leaving the program. How does it feel for you seeing him go second overall? And as a Heisman winner, are you happy for him? Are you jaded about the whole thing? No pun intended, jaded about Jayden, but where are you at on Jayden Daniels being the second overall pick?
I can't tell you I'm happy about it, but I can tell you that at this point, we're trying to just kind of wash our hands with it and move forward. We had 3 years of waiting for the sanctions to finally be put down so that we can wash our hands with what the program did during the COVID-19 dead period of bringing the kids onto campus, flying them out and everything. So this week was really just a great week for closure. I don't think it could have lined up better for the Sun Devils to have the sanctions laid out. I think Friday was when everything came out, having everything starting to come to a conclusion. And now with Jayden Daniels going to the NFL today, that is LSU legend Jayden Daniels. We're not associated with him anymore. But it is what it is. He's a very talented player. He's a freak athlete. We'll see what he can do at the next level. But I can tell you, Sun Devil fans are probably just ready to move on at this point. If for no other reason than it's just difficult, I suppose.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I do think we should hang a banner saying we have a Heisman Trophy winner to our name. We don't have to list the name of the player, but we can just say we have a Heisman Trophy player to our name. But I agree. Time to move on, and it's happy. A happy moment for Jaden Daniels. He's maybe going to have success. We don't know. Washington doesn't have the best track record either. But Richie Bradshaw, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
People can find you on Twitter at Richie Brads with a Z36. If you're not following him already, go follow him. Great content about the Cardinals. Great content about the Arizona State Sun Devils, Harvard of the West, the mecca of college football, as I always say.
I love
Thank
it.
you very much, Richie.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I shall target you guys later. If the Cardinals have another pick, I'll pop back on and shoot the stuff with you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Sounds
much.
good.
to it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
take care, guys.
You too.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw a spoiler on Twitter for who the Falcons are taking right here.
I don't want to. Don't
This
even.
is- I'm not gonna tell you, but this is the first stunner of the draft. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, I'm ready
It's a
for it.
stunner. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is probably pretty close to a 10.
So Jonathan Brooks.
I-
Honestly, more shocking than that, considering things that have happened.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I'm not gonna look anywhere because I want y'all to see my reaction when I
Yeah. Well, just to
I'm
catch
tempted.
us up, though, Malik Neighbors went to the Giants, J.C. Latham, as we said, to the Titans. So J.J. McCarthy's still out there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the direction they go, knowing that they've got Kirk Cousins and he's going to help them compete for this year.
I think it'll
He's been
surprise
linked
you
to Kirk
more.
Cousins, guys. He's
I
been
think
linked.
it'll surprise you more than that.
Well, good old Roger Goodell
Uh-oh, here we
coming
go.
on out to the podium. So here we go. I'm ready to be shot. Chris, you really hyped this up now. I hope
This is
that
crazy.
Whoa!
it lives up to it.
I didn't see that one. Nope.
I haven't gotten it
Get on my
yet.
board.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh wow! Good for the Falcons. I'll let you catch up.
Oh,
Roman.
right.
Woo! Sorry about that.
That's a
boys.
pick right there. I told you
good.
that he was. Oh my goodness! Something. I thought a bug just flew up or something. I told you that he was viewed that way. He was viewed like one of the top players in this draft. It just doesn't make sense to me in terms of what they just did with Kirk Cousins. Because you think about Michael Penix's age. I mean, he's already 24, right? And if he's 24, then you're assuming he's going to sit for a year or two because they just gave Kirk Cousins a 4-year deal that was very much guaranteed. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't know. I'm trying to find I'm trying to find the rationalization for this. I was confident that they would go with Dallas Turner here, or even a wide receiver more than that. That's just insane to me.
By the way, I have to show this out. Completely unrelated, but I'm drinking good old sweet tea out of my Cowboys glass that I got here. Repping the Cowboys.
Lots of water. I gotta keep the vocal cords, ready to roll, so to speak.
Yeah. And who knows, depending on what the Cowboys do at 24, we may be breaking out some other stuff, celebratory or maybe in the other direction. Who knows?
Y'all have an extra one for me. I do not consume booze, so I am a non-drinker.
Yeah.
But y'all can have an extra shot. I used to partake with the old Conor McGregor whiskey when he was big in UFC. So
Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. I'm shocked by that.
yeah, that's a great. It was a. I like
I love Michael Penix, and you
Yeah,
guys
me
know
too.
that. I don't love that at all. It doesn't make sense. Just it
So
just doesn't it doesn't make any sense because you just gave Kirk Cousins such a guaranteed contract. in 4
Brian, I
years.
think it's a good Freudian slip saying panic instead of Penix there because yeah, I'm kind of panicking on behalf of the Falcons. Like, what
Yeah, if I was a Falcons, I would be. If I was a Falcons fan, I'd be furious.
Here's what's gonna
And
happen,
maybe I
guys.
wouldn't be
Also,
furious if they hadn't
Dana
signed Kirk.
has offered to drink for you, Brandon.
I guys, thank you, Dana. Thank you. I haven't drank in a little bit, a couple years. So with the Bears pick, so everybody's been talking about Roma Dunze working out with Caleb and Keenan Allen. I think Roma Dunze is going to be the pick here for the Bears. I
Yeah, I'd
think
be
the
shocked if
Bears
it's
are going to
not.
walk away with two studs.
Yeah, I think
I'd be
they'll,
shocked if it's not him.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be him.
And the best part is they didn't have to move around. They got pick 1 and pick 9. The only downside is for them, I don't think they pick for a while. So I think they're. I
Yeah,
think
they only have 2 picks the rest of the draft.
that's it.
Yeah.
Oof. I knew
But
they
at
Yeah,
the same
so-
time, like they've added so much to the roster. Like their defense was turning the corner last year. They got some really good young corners. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. I think there's someone I'm forgetting. And now they got Caleb Williams, and he can be an offense all on his own. The offensive line isn't nearly as bad as it was a year ago. Not saying they're going to win the division or anything, but they're in a good spot where you get Caleb Williams, you get a guy like Rome Odunze potentially. You can be really, really competitive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think the Bears are going to look really, really good but this upcoming season. I think the whole NFC North is really looking good. I mean, outside of the Vikings, but I mean the Bears are going to have a loaded offense, and then you have.
By the way,
Lions.
speaking of the Vikings, we're 2 picks away, and JJ McCarthy is still on the board, so they may end up looking real smart for not trading up.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because there's no way the Jets are going to take JJ. I wouldn't think. And
Well, Rodgers ain't young, guys.
I know he's not young. That would be. I mean, maybe they like JJ and they want him to learn from Rodgers, but man, that would suck for the Vikings if they waited there and then they still weren't able to get JJ McCarthy.
The pick is coming in right now. I'll try not to be too surprised here. It's probably going to be Rome Odunze.
Yeah, no, I'm going Rome as well. That's my prediction.
There we go. Let's see. No shock, boys. By the way, just to go back to the Falcons, I'm looking at Kirk Cousins' contract. So his cap number in 2026 and 2027 is 57.5. That's crazy.
Wow.
And they just took pennies.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And just as we all predicted, it is Rome Odunze to the Bears. I mean, it makes sense. Like they've been, like you were saying, they were on the flight together. They're hanging out together.
It makes too
Man,
much.
that could be a really lethal combo. And you've got DJ Moore, and you've got Keenan Allen. I mean, it's good, but also it's kind of interesting because the Bears now have like no excuse to not be good this year because you've got like the consensus top quarterback in the draft, total stud, all of the athleticism in the world you could hope for. You've got great receivers. You got a huge upgrade in offensive coordinator with Shane Waldron coming over from the Seahawks. I mean, they have to take a step forward this year. Otherwise, it's you're looking at like, well, what do we do now?
No, you're right. I mean, you're not wrong.
It's looking like there could be a trade because
It says Minnesota's on the clock now.
it's still saying Minnesota's at 11 too, though.
Yeah.
So what are the reports? I haven't checked the Twitter machine right now. I haven't.
It's saying
I'm talking
Vikings.
to a friend who might be coming on with us a little bit.
Vikings are getting. So according to Tom Pelissero,
yes, they're trading.
Yeah, it says that the Vikings are trading pick 11, a 4th round, and a 5th round pick for the number 10 pick and pick 203.
Interesting. That's not that expensive. I mean, you're only moving up in one spot, but
I wonder if that's because they were concerned about maybe the Jets going with
it's possible
with McCarthy just because of Rodgers' future,
Yeah.
Or what if this is a shocker and they just don't even take McCarthy?
Man, wouldn't that be crazy?
Or
Brock Bowers.
Knicks.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna wait for Bo Nix.
Or maybe Bo Nix is the pick right here. That'd be a big slap in the face to JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. Man,
Rome Odunze though, that's a great pick.
Bears have a loaded offense right now.
There's no excuses for Caleb Williams. Pretty quick.
Yeah,
they got some weapons.
Not at all. I mean, if they can give him any type of protection, then he's gonna look really good.
Although he's also more than capable of
making
navigating
plays
around it too. Like that's one of his best traits is his improvisation.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see.
How do you
So,
guys
like-
feel about the draft hat? Not to go a little off topic here, but I don't
It's
know.
fun.
I guess so.
I don't love it, but
It's a little
there's
plain.
definitely been worse.
Yeah, that's true.
What, the Cowboys draft hat?
I'm just saying, like all these teams draft hats. It seems to be a pretty similar style for all of them. I don't know. The Bears one is gray with like a little orange trim on it.
Yeah, not every team has the color scheme to like really make that style really pop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the Vikings pick is in, and we're on commercial break, so of course we've got to wait for that to come through.
yeah,
But
they got the ESPN and all the networks got to pay their bills. So
yeah, as I'm watching a IHOP commercial. When was the last time either you went to an IHOP? Are you
long
fans
time.
of the
dude,
I
I,
love breakfast food though, so I mean, I'm down for an IHOP at any point of the day. I just haven't been there.
not a chance. No IHOP. We have an IHOP like 5 minutes from me. We used to have like where I grew up by the high school I grew up at. There was an IHOP. It didn't last very long because our diner scene's pretty good in Syracuse, and particularly in the Camillus, New York area where I grew up. Shout out to West Genesee High School, the Wildcats. We got some great lacrosse program. A lot of great players came out of there. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm a big diner guy. So we have a few good spots diner food wise. I'm a breakfast guy. I'll shout out to Mom on this one. My mom's got the best breakfast. That's hands down. I look forward to it every Sunday.
That's a good answer. It's a good clean answer.
And here's the thing, you know what? It's the God's honest truth answer, because I tell people all the time, like my mom's hash browns, top notch. I like pancakes or waffles, some good bacon. You know, I'm good. I'm a happy camper every Sunday.
Well, we got a good diner scene here in Tulsa too, but I will admit I go nuts for Waffle House.
Yeah, Waffle House.
I'm a Waffle House fiend.
I've never been to
Any
one.
time of day either. There's some people that are like I can only go at night.
Waffle House hits the best when it's like 2-3 a.m.
It does hit the best, but I think it still hits pretty good in the middle of the day.
Y'all,
Yeah.
I've never been to one, guys. Never been to one.
Well,
know.
I don't
We
have
don't have
them
them.
in
We
New
don't
York.
have them up here, guys.
Yeah.
The closest one's like Pennsylvania, which is that, you know, I'll be straight with you guys. So when I was down in Darlington, South Carolina for the NASCAR race last year, so it was like a minute or two from the racetrack, they had a Bojangles or a Waffle House.
Bojangles.
Bojangles. I went bow
Gotta
time,
go
baby. That's what I
Bojangles. Yeah,
did.
bow time is. Hey, but here's the thing though. You had to go with like a cheer wine because that's a North Carolina only drink.
Actually, you know what's funny? I actually have a Cheerwine bottle somewhere in this man cave that you can't see off camera.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but the one and only Danny Phantom is in the comments, and he is predictably he's giving us grief for talking about IHOP and other diners.
Hey, my man. Smothered and covered. All right, cool. All right, I like that.
Yeah, Brandon, do you know what smothered and covered means? Haven't ever been to a Waffle House?
No, all I know is smothered and covered means for me, as somebody who's never been to Waffle House, you're just loading up on all the good stuff that you like to eat. That's how I look at it. What is it? Tell me I'm the non-Waffle House guy. You got to fill me in.
Yeah, you know, man, I'm pretty sure because Waffle House has like a bunch of different things on their menu that you can get as like toppings on the hash browns. I'm pretty sure smothered and covered. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but smothered and covered is cheese and gravy. I may have messed that up, and I've exposed myself as a casual.
He's a fraud, guys. He's a fraud. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not a big fan of that, honestly. That's not my favorite type of food.
Well, I mean,
Brian said yep, and I'm assuming he's saying that I was correct and not yep, I'm a fraud. Thank you, Brian.
I think he was doing the fraud part, to be honest with you. No, I'm just
Thank you.
I'm just-
Speaking of frauds, could JJ McCarthy be the pick?
Wow, that's crazy. Listen, what if JJ McCarthy is the next Michigan great quarterback?
Honestly,
And then everyone
I wouldn't be
else looks
surprised.
stupid.
No, honestly, the thing with JJ McCarthy that makes it so hard to really evaluate him is like Michigan did not ask him to do very much,
Yep.
and they didn't have to. And you know, credit to them with the way that they built that roster. But also like the things that they asked him to do, he did very well. So it's hard to know like okay, if he goes to a team where he can do just those things, like he'll probably be good. But if he goes to a team, and most quarterbacks that go in the top 10 of the draft are going to a team where you're going to be asked to do a whole lot more. Now, I think the Vikings might be the exception to that because they've got a pretty good roster. They're more or less a quarterback away. They've got some good talents to throw to in Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, got a solid offensive line. The defense took a big step forward this past year. So that could be a really good fit for him, but it's just hard because you haven't seen him, even against a guy like Michael Penix Jr., who now has been drafted higher than him. Like Michael Penix Jr., both at Indiana and then at Washington, like he has had a bunch of those highlight plays where he's shown he can go ahead and make those big plays and play out a structure. And JJ McCarthy just didn't have to do it very often. But we'll see. We're about to find out if he is the pick or if Minnesota traded up
Gotta be McCarthy
somewhere else.
I mean,
feel like
it
it's gotta be.
makes too much sense, guys.
I think it's McCarthy here, and I think it's Brock Bowers next.
I think Bowers makes a lot of sense for the Jets.
Yeah.
He's been pretty constant in the last two mock drafts I put together too. It makes sense for them. They need a tight end. They're pretty good at receiver. Fits.
Yep.
Also, I'll go ahead and issue an apology to JJ McCarthy for calling him a fraud. I solely did it for the humor, but
Hey, I'll just
please
say
don't
this. We
come
were
for me,
talking earlier.
JJ.
JJ and Vikings. It was too easy for me, to be honest with you. They've been linked together at the hip for a while, I feel like.
Yeah, and credit to Vikings general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. Everyone thought he was going to trade a whole bunch of picks to move up to 3. Everyone thought he was going to do it for 4 and then 5. He stuck to his guns. I mean, he did trade up, but only one spot. And as we said, like he didn't really give up a whole lot. And
what was the official haul? What was the official haul again?
It was, hold up, I can look for it. It wasn't too much. I believe
it was Jets got 11, 129, and 157, and the Vikings got 10 and 203.
That's actually not bad at all, I don't think.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. You give up a couple of day 2 picks and you get a day 3 pick and move up a spot and get who you think is going to be your franchise quarterback. Like,
Guys, I love this pick. I'm a believer in JJ McCarthy. Like, I don't care if anybody says the kid's a winner. I mean, he completed 72% of his passes. His touchdown interception ratio is 22-4. I mean, yeah, he didn't throw 40 touchdowns like my guy Jaden Daniels, but like McCarthy's. But you got to think it's a product of Harbaugh's system where they like to run the ball. Like they had Blake Corum, who last time I checked is going to be probably a day 2 pick. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers take him in early on day 2 because I think
it'd be interesting. I will say JJ McCarthy, he's going to be in a great position to succeed year 1 if Justin Jefferson signed and everything. Because I mean, if he signed, then it's going to be Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, then you got Kevin O'Connell as your head coach. I mean that's a good supporting cast. If JJ can't make it work with that supporting cast, then he's not going to make it work anywhere else.
Yeah. I'm going to connect a few dots here. Now, I will say, like I said, JJ McCarthy, we just didn't really see him do much. And it reminded me of when Micah Parsons was in the draft because he took off that year for COVID and he worked out privately. And the Micah Parsons that you saw at Penn State was not the Micah Parsons we've seen in the NFL. Part of it because of the way that Penn State used him, but also like he was just a different guy. And you wouldn't have known what you were getting unless you actually got to work with him directly. Now, Jim Harbaugh, as we know, is a huge believer in JJ McCarthy. He knows him better than just about anyone else out there except for JJ's own family. JJ McCarthy has a couple of connections to the Vikings. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the general manager, had been in the San Francisco 49ers front office back when Harbaugh was the head coach there. When the Vikings were hiring their head coach, they brought in Jim Harbaugh for an interview, and a lot of people assumed it was going to be a done deal because of that connection, because Jim Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh. Obviously, it ended up not working out. They went with Kevin O'Connell. I think that's largely been a good decision for them. But there is that connection there. They have a relationship there. And I'm sure that also played a part in just really figuring out and getting down to the nitty gritty of who is JJ McCarthy. Can he be that guy for us? Because again, you didn't really see anything that says one way or the other franchise material at Michigan, but he could take that next step, and especially with the supporting cast he'll have in Minnesota, that could be what really propels him. So I like
JJ is going to start right away. I mean, Sam Darnold, Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall. I don't think
it's a great situation for him for sure.
By the way, we have an important update. Brian confirmed sausage, gravy, and melted cheese smothered and covered for the hash browns.
Okay. Thank you, Brian, for the filling us in on that. Because as somebody who's never been to a Waffle House, I know that's probably a sin. But full disclosure, I'm a New Yorker. We we don't have it up here. So, and now the Jets are about to pick here. Let's see.
I think it's got to be Bowers. The only thing I could see otherwise is like taking one of these.
Oh, it's not who you think it is.
Like it could be like Troy Fautanu or
I love
Marius
this.
Mims.
It's one of my guys right here, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, I love this pick.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
The Jets offensive line now features Tyron Smith, Olu Fashanu, Morgan Moses, Elijah Vera Tucker, John Simpson, and Joe Tittman. That's a good offensive line. That's a good offensive line protecting Aaron Rodgers. So they've done what they can to try and address that, because he was under constant duress in that opener against the Buffalo Bills for a few plays.
I can tell you who's happy about this pick, because I can hear my upstairs going getting nuts. My wife is a full disclosure a fan of the Penn State Nittany Lions, so she's very happy about the pick. I mean by proxy, I also root for Penn State, because of that. And I've told you guys before during the writer's block, episodes, many episodes back, like this would have been the guy that I wouldn't have minded if the Cowboys traded up to get, because he's an all-pro guy, future all-pro for me. He's gonna do some big things for the Jets. They hit a home run. I can't wait to hear what Jets Nation has to say about that, because I'm sure we'll get some excitement, because this offensive line is you guys mentioned it. The list of players on that line. Aaron Rodgers is going to be all right. He's going to be able to have time to throw it to Garrett.
He's going to have more than like 96 seconds or whatever it was.
Oh, dude, right.
Yeah.
This. I mean,
who are the Broncos taking? Are they going with Bo Nix? Are they going to make that sixth quarterback now? Are we up to six quarterbacks?
That's a reach. Yeah, that's a reach. Like,
need-wise,
it makes sense, but
if they don't, they're rolling with Zach Wilson. Like,
unless they make a trade.
Yeah, when's the Broncos' next pick though? Like after that, it's like what? It's not. I don't think they have a second rounder, do they?
Yeah, they don't have a whole lot of picks because they traded for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But then their next pick is, I think, pick 76, if I'm not mistaken. Which
they
is
listen. They could trade for Trey Lance. Hey, listen, what if they traded for Trey Lance and then they just rocked with the number 2 and the number 3 overall pick?
We're not putting that slander out there. Nope, not happening.
Oh,
Trey Lance, poor Trey
Lance. I will say that the
ESPN
broadcast is showing Bo Nix right now.
Yeah. Doesn't look like that phone is busy though.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it didn't look busy for Michael Penix either. I saw him. He was on the screen too, and he was sitting there.
That's true.
They normally do that. They show him prior, and they're kind of just sitting there, and they're not looking. And then they show the live reaction.
I don't mean to cut you off, guys. I'm sitting here listening to the broadcast, and JJ McCarthy listens to Bob Marley before games. Instantly cool in my book because I'm a big Bob Marley guy. So shout out.
Don't get me wrong. Bob Marley is cool, but as a pregame song, like,
just relax, man.
Yeah. I don't want to be relaxed before a game. I want to be pumped. I want to be ready to go in there.
See, I'm the opposite. Like, I want to be chill and just like my mindset's like I'm like locked in.
Okay, so I want you guys, if this is Bo Nix, do you guys think it's a good pick for the Broncos, or do you think that's just a really bad reach?
No.
Here's my thing. If I'm the Broncos, you got no draft. You got no draft capital.
Yeah.
So I would slide back, and you'll still get Bo Nix.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I think if Bo Nix doesn't go here, he could fall out of the first round entirely. I feel like, or maybe go later in the first at least. Like,
I mean, let's see who else needs a quarterback. I mean,
well, I guess
honestly-
the Raiders. The Raiders do need a quarterback too.
the Raiders, the Rams.
Guys, I put out my my top 200 draft board earlier today. Tweeted that out. I had Bo Nix at 84, 84th best player. Like
Jeez.
there was one other player below him that still had a day 2 grade. He was like fringe day 2 grade for me. I'm not high on Bo Nix at all, but also, I mean, he would. I mean, it would definitely be a reach even for the people that are kind of high on Bo Nix, but Sean Payton is that kind of guy that, like, if he believes in Bo Nix, he's going to take him and he's not going to care one bit what you say about it.
Yeah.
And honestly, he'll probably like that you guys that we're all doubting him because he believes in himself a whole lot. Some, like myself, would say way too much, but he would believe like, I can make Bo Nix into a star.
I mean, honestly, hopefully Sean Payton is only there for maybe a little bit longer, and then the Cowboys can replace Mike McCarthy with Sean Payton, like it was written. That's what.
Why would they want to downgrade?
Come on now. That's not a downgrade.
Sean Payton. I will say that I've tweeted this out before. Sean Payton is like, he was a good head coach in 2013. He's not a good head coach anymore. The game passed him by. He's also just, in general, my opinion, an insufferable human being. I do not like the guy. I have nothing nice to say about the guy, which makes him two head coaches in that division that I have very strong negative opinions about, including the Raiders head coach.
We ain't going on that rabbit hole.
Y'all know. We can talk about that when the Raiders are on the clock.
Yeah, we can go, guys. I mean, here's the thing. I liked when Kevin James played Sean Payton in that movie. That was cool.
That's the most I've ever liked Sean Payton.
Come on. Okay, listen. I understand that he had that. He had the whole controversy with the whole
Bounty Gate.
Bounty Gate. I get it, but in terms of an offensive mind and a good coach, like, he's a good coach.
Here's the thing. I think he's a hell of a mind. I think he is. But
and honestly, I would like the Cowboys' chances with him better than Mike McCarthy. But
what's he done without Drew Brees?
Huh?
What's he done without Drew Brees?
What has he had without Drew Brees?
He's had his pick. He wanted Ian Book. He wanted Jameis Winston. He wanted Teddy Bridgewater. Like, what has he done without those guys?
I know, but those aren't good quarterbacks.
And then he chose Russell Wilson in Denver and then did everything he could to sabotage him and throw him under the bus. And then he was like, "Oh, Jarrett Stidham is going to be our guy. Oh, Zach Wilson's our guy."
Russell played horribly.
Guys, it's going to be Bo Nix. Just move on with it. I'm just going to say it right now. Sean Payton don't care what any of us think. He's going to pick.
All right, Brandon, I have to ask a favor. If it is Bo Nix, don't freak out. Give us your poker face. Just pretend like it's nothing, okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear it.
See, that's my reaction watching Sean Payton call an offense, is falling asleep.
All I can say is y'all ain't gonna be surprised by that. I'll just leave it.
See, that's a spoiler. I said not to say anything. Wow, that's crazy.
There we go.
I will say that you said it like right as he announced it, so it wasn't that crazy. But
yeah,
I waited. I paused like.
I appreciate it. We're behind. We're on YouTube. I'm on YouTube TV. I don't know what I forgot what.
You know what I do? I have the antenna hooked up, so I watch it directly from the feed from ABC.
Man, you're rocking old school. Do you have like one of those crank TVs too?
No, I got a flat screen. No, I mean, hey, you know what? I
haven't seen an antenna in like 12 years.
Guys, you know why I like the antenna? Because I'm cheap, and like if I want like a streaming service, like a lot of them don't have like the 3, 5, and 9 for us, which is like, the ABCs, the Foxes, the CBSs of the world. So I like to have it, and it's free. So I like freebies. So
this is a little bit of interesting of a note, So Schefter just tweeted that Broncos center Alex Forsyth played with Bo Nix at Oregon before Denver drafted him in the 7th round last year, and he raved to Denver's coaches about his former college quarterback and told them that Nix is smart, knows every protection, handles it all at the line of scrimmage, and had universal respect of the entire team. So, I mean, but I don't know if that's enough to make up for the arm talent or the decision making, but
or the fact that he's like, again, 35 years old. Dude has been
he has been in college for a while. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like college was like the best 7 years of his life.
All right, Van Wilder.
But listen, maybe that means that he'll be a great, a great impact early because he has that college experience.
I'll say two things as we transition to the Raiders who are on the clock. Bo Nix, if you look at his college career and his trajectory, he never really like took off and met all the hype that he had coming in until he went that first year at Oregon under then offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham, who now of course is the head coach at the great Arizona State, and also succeeding Antonio Pierce, the new head coach of the Raiders, who any minute now is going to also be given a show cause penalty by the NCAA for his role in those recruiting sanctions that drove Jaden Daniels and Ricky Pearsall and Johnny Wilson and many other good players out of Arizona State. So that's my petty segue into the Raiders being on the clock. What do we think we're doing here with the Raiders?
Oh gosh, I mean, I would have said quarterback, but
Yeah. My immediate thought was best player available, which was Brock Bowers, but that wouldn't make sense because they just drafted one last year.
If I'm not mistaken, there's no defensive players have gone off the board.
I mean, they could. I mean, they could.
You're right. That's crazy.
They could go Dallas.
13, pick 13 and no defensive players. I wonder how long it's been since that's happened. If that's ever happened,
I feel like there's no way that's
happened.
Yeah, that's weird, boys. I didn't even think about that either.
Yeah.
I mean, quarterbacks. I mean, 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks.
You know what I think is going to be a sleeper one here is offensive line.
Yeah, they have a needed offensive line.
Yeah, I mean,
out there. Marius Mims, maybe Graham Barton.
No, don't say that.
That'd be a little rich, but
unfortunately, we're at this. Hold up, let's see what they pick.
I like it.
He likes it.
Good for them. That's a great pick, great value.
I mean, it's great. It's great value, but they're gonna have an interesting 2 tight end system then.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? They might view him as not a tight end, just as a weapon.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Brock Bowers can be lined up even in the slot receiver role because that's how athletic he is. So
No,
I think it's a great.
Good.
I think it's a great value, regardless. I mean, him falling to 13, I think is going to get questioned in the future, and I think there's going to be a couple teams that maybe went quarterback here who are going to be like, "Wow, I passed on a generational prospect."
Oh, there's definitely going to be one or two because all of them.
Maybe the team that just picked.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, let's not hit Bo Nix too bad. He did have a good year this past year, so I don't have him as high on my board either. So, but if anybody can get something out of it, I think Peyton can do it. I know Howman loves Sean Payton, so if anybody's gonna get it done, it's Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that Zach Wilson and Bo Nix, that little head-to-head competition.
If that's the competition in training camp, and it's a serious back and forth, then that proves that the Broncos made the wrong pick there.
That's like Zach Wilson versus Bo Nix is like 3 years from now. That's going to be a XFL game.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness, that is.
I will say we're at the stage of the draft. We're at the
sorry, UFL.
We're at the stage of the draft where we're going to probably see a lot of players who would be nice fits for the Cowboys start to go. Because, so far it's been great for the Cowboys. I mean, all these quarterbacks, 6 of them have gone. It's leaving a lot of really good prospects on the board for the Cowboys at pick 24. I mean, a lot of good defensive players. There's still some solid offensive linemen there. I mean, no offensive lineman that's been picked were expected to fall to 24. So it's not hurting the Cowboys.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, everybody's been saying the Cowboys are like in love with Troy Fautanu, the Washington tackle. I'm in love with Troy Fautanu. We've talked about him on the show.
They trade up.
There's been a lot of buzz that Seattle is going to take him. Seattle's offensive coordinator was the offensive coordinator of Washington the last 2 years. He knows him. They have a need. New Orleans could very well go offensive tackle here because they have a need too.
Yeah.
But if Fautanu's there at 15, do you think about trading up to 15?
The thing is if you do something like that, you're sacrificing a second or a third realistically, or you're sacrificing a 2025 pick. And
but they're going to have comp picks.
Okay, but they're not going to be giving up.
Because they let their guys walk out the building that they love so much.
I know, but they're not going to be giving up 4th or 5th rounders next year. If you move up from 24 to 15, you're likely giving up a 2nd or 3rd next year.
I'll be honest.
Next year,
I ain't moving up at this point. I think the draft has fallen perfectly with all these quarterbacks that have gone. Like, there's so many quarterbacks that have gone. Like, we're talking about Dallas Turner, for example, sitting here at pick 14. I feel like at this point, there's going to be some studs that are going to be sitting there at 24, and the Cowboys can just sit pretty and pick a really good football player.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, you have Dallas Turner still there. You have Byron Murphy still there. You have Terry and Arnold still there. I mean, you have guys who
Johnny Newton.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. And here's my thing. This is why I've been saying Cowboys should go best player available. I understand that there's going to be a huge need at the offensive line position, but I mean, are we really passing on a guy like a Johnny Newton or someone that's that good of a player for like the 6th or 7th best tackle on the board? I mean, and like that's my concern too, is like I understand that tackle is a bigger priority than center in terms. Well, I mean, here's my thing. I don't think it should be. Oh, I lost. Oh, okay. I hear you. Am I back? I'm frozen. I can hear you.
Your face is great. We got to screenshot that.
Oh, chill.
Oh, dude, that was great.
It's slowly coming back.
Dude, your face. I wish we could have used that for your Twitter pic. Man, that would have been.
Oh man.
Is he back for you? I still see him frozen.
Yeah, he's still. It's still loading.
Okay. It's loading for me too.
Maybe
I should refresh my page. Let's see if that does anything.
Yeah, that might be a great idea. Oh, how many?
Hey, this is live, so that is going to be there forever.
As we like to say, F it, we'll do it live. You know.
Yeah.
Kind of how we go here. I mean, shoot, I'm loading up on Waters here. So my screen might be going black in a few minutes to go hit the head. Hey, this is why we do live stuff. It's fun, you know. We're having a. To me, it's like it's like I feel like you guys are in the room with me, and we're just sitting here watching and talking ball. Like there ain't much better than that, man. I love it. You know what I'm gonna love is if the Cowboys take a player that I actually like. So.
I mean, honestly, I like most of the guys that have been mocked to them most frequently. Like, I'm fine with Graham Barton. I'm fine with Jackson Powers Johnson. I'm fine with Zach Frazier. Like, even if they stayed put and took him at 24, like, it would be a little bit of a reach, but not enough for me to really be upset.
That's a Cowboys kind of reach.
What's that?
That's a Cowboys kind of reach. A guy that's like a mid-second rounder.
Well, like when they took Travis Frederick, like, yeah, it was a reach, but like it wasn't like something egregious. When they took Tyler Smith, like you could have probably gotten him in the beginning of the 2nd round if you traded down, but it's not. You didn't like massively overpay to go up and get him.
Here's what I would say.
Let's go back.
Yes. Hey, I think they're going to go with Talise Fuaga. I think is what they're going to pick here
for the Saints.
I think you looked at your Twitter. That's what
I'm not looking at anything.
I think you looked at your Twitter.
Dude, hey. I swear, I can show you my screens. I'm not going to pull this because.
Well, you know what's funny is it wasn't my internet because I'm connected to internet on my PlayStation 5 that's playing the YouTube TV that I'm watching this draft on, and it was running perfectly fine. So, it was just my laptop. My laptop just fell apart, I guess. But I'm back, better than ever. I'm sorry you guys had to look at that interesting picture of me, how it looked.
I'm going to go back and screenshot that one. That's funny.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It was you had a really good look on your face. It was great.
Also, I like the way Brian thinks.
Brian, I hate to break it to you. I think Fuaga from Oregon State's going here.
No spoilers, Brandon, man.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at Dallas Turner's awesome, beautiful. What is that? What do you call that? Like a lime green? I don't know what that is. But it looks he's flossy right now.
Let's talk about how little people are there. Like there's like 13 players. Is that how it's always been? Has it always only been 13?
It's been getting less and less.
That's so lame.
I think since COVID when Goodell did the draft in his basement.
Whenever he was in the basement. That was interesting. But no, I think that I don't know, it's weird to me because like I feel like that's one of the coolest parts is seeing them walk across the stage and get all excited. I feel like they've kind of gone away from that and I don't know if
Yeah.
I was a draft prospect, I would totally be there. I don't care if
Yeah,
it
but
was a
there's also
second
the
or
thing
third
of,
round
like,
pick.
if you're in the green room and like
You're
not
following
getting
that.
drafted, you're just sitting there and they keep cutting to you like.
Do you remember when Johnny Manziel kept sliding and they kept showing him and he was just nervously looking around? He was like,
Yeah.
"What's happening?"
Yeah, I
Man.
mean, I'm just glad that hindsight, obviously, glad that the Cowboys didn't take Johnny F in football. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so much hindsight. Like I think a lot of us kind of knew
All right.
it shouldn't have been.
14-year-old me did not know. 14-year-old me saw the Heisman, saw everything, and saw that he was in Texas.
Zach
Saw the
Martin
dream come true.
all along. I loved Zach Martin, even though he played at Notre Dame. But
You can't go wrong with the Notre Dame offensive lineman. So
no, they usually turn out okay.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Speaking of Notre Dame offensive linemen, there's a guy in this draft, Blake Fisher, a tackle, who's kind of had a little bit of a rise in his draft stock, I guess, in the last few weeks. He's really, really good. He's probably going to be a middle day 2 selection. If the Cowboys don't go tackle in the first round and they can get Blake Fisher, that'd be a great pickup for them.
No, we got to get my guy out of Yale. That's my guy.
In the first round?
No. Second round.
All right. I think second round is a lock to be running back, honestly. Like,
yeah, I think the running back run's going to be heavy.
I think running back.
If Jonathan Brooks is there, he's for sure going to be the pick.
I think
they might even trade up to get ahead of
I was about to say, I could see them giving up some 2025 capital to move up, kind of like what Michael Gelkin was talking about, to move up and secure that. Because
for those comp
now,
picks.
if Jonathan Brooks is the pick in the first round, that's going to be very interesting. I know you would hate that, David.
I think rightfully so.
I wouldn't love it, but I mean, if they believe Jonathan Brooks is the answer, then I don't know.
God,
Is there a chance
I would
that
take
he
Trey
goes
Benson.
before the Cowboys even get on the board? Wouldn't that be crazy? If someone else
But I'd be happy that
would be happy.
some other team made that mistake.
Yeah.
To be clear, I like Jonathan Brooks. I think he's the best running back in this draft, assuming he's healthy.
I have him one if he's healthy, but I have Trey Benson as a close second. I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think it's a huge stretch between them two. I like Benson's
Trey
power.
Benson's number one for me. He's my number one guy.
I think
I
it's
like
close.
Jonathan Brooks, but I like Trey Benson would be my home run guy for running back.
Honestly, I'm at the point now where I kind of like would have loved to see Benson fall to the third round. I just don't think it's realistic. I think with the run that we're going to see in the second round, I think Benson will have to be the second round pick if you want him as well.
Yeah,
So,
he's going to
I'm
go.
comfortable with it. I really am. I'm comfortable with Benson in the second round. I'm comfortable with any of those top 2 running backs. I mean, I think they're the clear 2, and I'm not a huge believer in Jalen Wright. I'm not a huge believer. I think Blake Corum brings a lot of good qualities at the running back position. Just the size concerns me a little bit, but I mean,
He's a Charger.
Yeah,
He's a Charger. He'll
That
be a
makes
Charger
sense.
tomorrow night.
that makes sense.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
But
And
the
I'm
real
sure he
flip
would
side-
love that to go from Harbaugh in college to Harbaugh at the next level. I mean, like just as a player, I mean, that's awesome.
Take him in your fantasy.
We have someone else coming in. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this fella, but welcome to the stage, RJ Ochoa.
Hey, what's up, RJ?
What's
What's
up?
up, brother?
How goes it? I've never seen this angle of Brandon's basement, I
I
guess.
know, seriously. It's
Yeah.
new.
So nice to know, Brandon, that you're one of those people who puts a towel on the top of your recliner. So
Wait. Hey. This is a limited edition Darlington Raceway I got last year. It's a great.
I'm not knocking it,
yeah.
but there's some people who put a towel on the top, for when you take a nap or something like that, and you're one of those people. I mean, so that's good.
I have a couple Cowboys ones too, but they're my kids have those in their room.
Wow. Okay. Good for you.
How you been, RJ?
I am doing well. I have a million screens open to get a lot of things up in
Makes
hopefully
sense.
short order.
Yeah.
But I've got the 2 dogs in here. I've got a diet root beer, and I've got some cantaloupe in the fridge that I'm ready to dive into as soon as I'm done talking to y'all.
Cantaloupe is great. I saw your tweet about.
What brand of root beer?
It's A&W. It's the only diet one I drink.
Yeah.
So it's legit. It's perfect. I thought you were going to ask what brand of cantaloupe, and I was going to be like, well, is there really are there brands? So
Now I have to ask.
but it's great to see the writer's block alive. I know we haven't spoken since everything happened, and I'm really happy for you all that you managed to kind of land on your feet. And it's been such a bummer the way everything unfolded, obviously. And I've been trying to figure out what I can in the meantime, but I'm very, very happy to see that y'all are still podcasting together.
I appreciate it. Thank you for, helping plug us and, just giving us the platform to begin with. I mean, it does suck, but I mean, I'm glad to still be able to talk Cowboys with my boys here, and I'm glad to still be able to work with you, through the writing portions of things and, stay in contact with you. So, and I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
RJ,
Does it feel weird for you being in the bottom left corner?
Oh yeah, I'm about to say you're not in the pole position.
It's really nice, to be honest, to kind of relax. I mean, like, I really wish that we were live streaming, kind of like we've done in the past, the entire draft. But I would be really, really lying through my teeth if I wasn't saying that it is kind of nice to just watch and do other things and let the dogs out or whatever. So it's a different kind of draft, and I'm appreciating it in that respect. But it's weird. It is a little bit strange. I feel like I'm seeing Brandon from a whole different view. He turned up. So yeah.
RJ, I gotta ask real quick. What is the bigger shock so far in this draft? Michael Penix at 8 to the Falcons, or Bo Nix to the Broncos so high?
I think that Bo Nix was really predictable, right? Like, that was, we kind of understood that the Broncos would do it. So I don't know that it was a surprise. The Penix thing is super surprising, especially since I joined you fellas. Jane Slater just tweeted out right now that Kirk Cousins was equally shocked and disappointed.
Wow.
And that he understands it's a business. Diana Rossini tweeted out the Falcons called Kirk when they were on the clock to let him know. From what she learned, Cousins understood a quarterback would be considered, but he did not believe his successor would be taken in the first round. She wrote verbatim, "I'm told he's a bit stunned." So, yeah. I know that there was the 15 minutes where everybody thought that Atlanta did the right thing by going with Raheem Morris over Bill Belichick, but maybe Bill would have been the best choice. Maybe you should have just done the super obvious thing. So we'll see.
I know that I was, widely criticized by some people over at SB Nation for my praise of Michael Penix Jr., but I think that the pick would have made sense if they hadn't paid Kirk. I still think he has that kind of talent, but the fact you paid that much money to Kirk and then you still take a 25-year-old quarterback, and I mean, you're assuming he's going to sit for 2-3 years if everything works out with Kirk Cousins, and if it doesn't, then you're moving on from Kirk. Then you've put a lot of money into nothing. So I mean, it's just a weird pick.
Well, I mean, you throw away the most premium asset you have to help the Kirk window now, and you damage the Penix window financially because of the presence of. I mean, it is quite possibly the worst thing that you could do, which I thought that our team had sort of enlisted a patent on. But the Falcons, borrowed the trademark at least for the first half of tonight, and I'm sure that the Cowboys will find a way to steal the thunder back in about an hour or so.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels nice to be sitting here saying this team is so stupid for doing this and not be talking about the Cowboys. So I will enjoy it until pick 24 is on the clock.
I'm sure y'all have talked about it, but and I know this sounds like a dramatic thing, but I truly feel like Tuesday was like one of the worst days of my life as a Dallas Cowboys fan. I mean, it was, I mean, I know that sounds like a joke, but it was among the most depressing things. And like everything they said just got worse and worse and worse. And it was so wasn't even terrifying. It was just amazing that they could think these things and say them out loud and be proud of them.
Those leaves that are falling are becoming really expensive leaves at this point. Cause right after that, Amon-Ra got paid $30 a year. And, just before the draft, AJ Brown is getting $32 a year. And I mean, if you're CeeDee Lamb, you're not taking anything less than 34 at this point. And I mean, it could just go higher and higher the longer they wait. So yeah, I'm not sure what they're really expecting right now with the leaves falling, but it's not good. At this point, you want all the leaves to stay on the trees right now.
Guys, I'm looking at this draft so far. I feel like the draft's kind of fallen nicely for the Cowboys, that they don't muff the snap, so to speak. I feel
There's
like
the optimist. There's Brandon.
I mean, but I will say though, like Latu, I'm not surprised here either. I think Latu's he's been trending upward for the last few weeks. I think it's a good pick for the Colts. I do think the Cowboys are going to stand pat at 24 at this point, because I feel like they're still going to get a really high level player because of the reaches of other teams at quarterback. I think the Cowboys are primed to make a move. I mean, at this point, knowing the draft board, I mean, where do you stand on what player you hoping the Cowboys get, RJ, at this point?
Well, I'm mad about free agency all over again because I
Yeah.
feel like Byron Murphy could make it, right? Like we're close enough now that we can dream things up, but it would be so irresponsible to take him right now just based on team needs. And so I mean, unless he goes in the next, 45 minutes or whatever, I'll cool off on that. But I mean, I have any of you pivoted from the idea or the notion that it has to be offensive line? I mean, nothing about this run on offense has changed that for me. I mean,
I'll say on Tuesday when our last episode came out, we did a mock draft and Johnny Newton was available, and we all were like, we can't do it unless, and then we did, and we took Johnny Newton. So yeah, no, we'd be fine with. I think we'd all be fine with Byron Murphy.
Yeah. I mean, I came out with that article saying, best player available, and I mean, I get it. The offensive line is not going to be good if they don't go with the first round talent. But I mean, there's so many holes at this point. I think that you're better off just getting the surefire player. And I would rather get, one of the best players at his position as opposed to getting like the 6th or 7th best player at a position just because of a need. But it's, it's where the Cowboys have put themselves in because of their lack of making moves in free agency. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, my nirvana right now remains, JPJ. That's what I trade back in JPJ. That's, we go to sleep tonight and that's the case. It's a win. Like we're still down bad. We're still in the mud, but I mean, we've taken one step forward if that's the case. And so, but I have a hard time envisioning, who's going to want to trade up and for what. Like this has worked out. Like all the quarterbacks went great, but I mean, you're going to trade out so someone else can take your tackle. You're going to trade out so someone can take Byron Murphy or whoever. I mean, Johnny and you have to watch that and walk away from it. That's tough. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if I could.
There are a lot of good wide receivers still on the board too. I mean, I understand that, the big 3 have gone off, but Brian Thomas is still there. Is still there. Adonai Mitchell. I mean, I'm looking at the Chiefs. They're going to need a wide receiver. I mean, like they needed one before the whole Rashee Rice incident, and now with that, it's kind of assumed that he's going to miss several games this upcoming season. So I think that could be a likely option. I think that maybe the Lions couldn't even trade up, and the Cowboys could go down to 29. So I see some potential options. Is the worst case scenario, in your opinion, the Cowboys staying at 24 and drafting Jonathan Brooks?
That's the worst case. But there are 3 progressions of Jonathan Brooks panic. The worst would be staying at 24 and doing it. The most, I guess, understandable would be if they traded down and did it. I mean, it would still suck a lot. And while this would be a lower level resource, if they traded out of tonight entirely, right? And they got out and they picked up capital, we'd be so mad. We'd be so frustrated because they wouldn't have anybody. And we'd spend all day tomorrow just itching and saying like, okay, and say they trade back to like, I don't know, like 40. And all day tomorrow, we're like, okay, here's who you got. Go, you're going to have all these options, blah, blah. And then they jumped up to like 34 to go get him there. That's the actual worst case scenario where you let us dream for another day just to go up and ruin it all. I don't know. I mean, do any of you think that that's going to happen? Like, is that any of yours like number one prediction?
I think that they go offensive lineman in the first round. I think that they do trade up in the second round and get him. That's my belief. I still think that they make a pick in the first, but I think they use that 2025 capital like Michael Gelkin was talking about, because they are going to have a lot of their favorite thing, which is the compensatory picks. I think that they move up slightly in the second round and they get him because I don't think that I think it's possible he doesn't fall.
I'll say this, realistically speaking, like, and the boys have heard me talk about Karan Amagaji, like from Yale. If the Cowboys say Johnny Newton's on the board at 24 and they take Johnny Newton, I think Karan Amagaji would be a really good pick in round 2. I feel like he's getting mocked to the back end of the round 2, and I think he's got the potential where he can play tackle or guard, so they can have this battle between Tyler Smith and Amagaji and figure out which guy fits better at which position. I think that'd be an option. Realistically, I want Jackson Powers Johnson here at 24. That's the one I want.
I have one final question for each of you, and then one for the group as a whole, if you'll allow me.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay,
Oh,
so Howman, you're up first. Do we now know that Jaden Rashada is going to go second overall after winning the Heisman Trophy for Georgia? Given
I
what
mean, it
happened with
seems like a
JJ.
lock. It
Yeah,
seems
okay.
like a lock at this point.
Okay, that sucks a lot. So that was my question for Howman. My question for Chris is: you're a Madden player like me.
Yes.
So far, who is the team that you want to start a Madden franchise with? Because I think the answer is the Cardinals.
I'm actually going with the Bears. I mean,
That's fair.
that offensive skill position with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and now Romeo Dunze, and then you also got Caleb Williams. I mean, that's a fun offense to play with. And then all you got to do is make some moves on the defensive side of the ball, and then they're set.
Okay, my question for Brandon is: who is the first Syracuse player that will come off the board?
I don't think any player from Syracuse.
Oh wow!
Wow.
But next year,
I'll say
I
he's
missed
on
earlier,
it.
he said Syracuse is winning 9 games next year.
That's a crazy.
Brandon,
thing.
They're going to be in the conversation for a playoff. Fran
Brandon,
Brown's bringing it back.
you are precious. I mean, really.
I
Just,
hey,
Oh
I
my
am who I
God.
am. You know, I love my Syracuse orange. Yeah, I mean, we were talking to Richie Bradshaw, who covers the Cardinals, and he was speaking very highly of Garrett Williams. So that's our Syracuse guy. Ify Melifonwu is a really good cornerback for the Lions. So we got some guys in the league. Fran Brown's going to bring a bunch of them to the league in the next couple of years. This year just ain't the year. I'm not going to lie to you. It was the last year under Dino Babers, so we're turning a new leaf. So I'll say not any this year, but we might have many next year.
my question for the group is: what is the most dramatic thing that Chris has said so far tonight?
Oh my
like who does he want to trade for? Like who has he equated? Who has he put in the Hall of Fame already? Like this, you guys are an hour and a half into this. Like here, 2 hours. He's got to have said something outlandish.
I've been very cool, calm, and collected. Honestly,
How about this week? I'll widen the parameters to this week.
Joe Milton, QB1 in Dallas.
I did not say that. I did not say QB1. I did say that spending
No,
a third round.
you said take Joe Milton and then get rid of Dak next year. And
I
Joe
did not
Milton
say get rid of Dak. I did not. I never said get rid of Dak for Joe Milton. I said that if Joe Milton falls on day 3,
Trade
you
Dak,
get him in
trade
like
Trey.
the 5th or 6th round, then why not? But no,
Wow.
no. Okay, listen. The more absurd one is that Brandon thinks that Trey Lance is actually the future starting.
Whoa,
quarterback in
hold on.
Dallas.
Back
That's
to
what you
Texas,
said. I didn't say any of that.
Man, you
Whoa,
guys.
whoa.
I thought Howman could keep y'all in check. Goodness gracious.
RJ, hold on. I gotta explain
Hey,
it.
I tried my best.
No, well, here's the thing. I said the first hurdle for Trey Lance to be on the roster for next year is he's got to beat out Cooper Rush, obviously, for the backup job, and then he has a shot to maybe get the starting job next year. Like let's add that in there just a little bit. In full disclosure, I was a Trey Lance guy when he came out a couple years ago, so I'm still a believer in the skill and the ability. I mean, everything that I've seen and heard, he seems like he's progressed well. So we'll see what happens. Hey, by the way, Chris also was wanted Michael Penix on the Cowboys too. I'm just gonna
In the second round, not in the first round. I wouldn't.
That's still bad.
Chris, that's actually the most outlandish thing that you've said. If you
I've said that
truly
for a
wanted
while
Michael
now,
Penix
though.
in the second round,
I've said that for a while, but
I know that
I
just
knew it was
because
never
you've
gonna
said it for a
happen.
while doesn't make it any less irrational.
I've always known
so-
it wasn't going to happen. I would have liked it because I'm a big believer in him. I could see him actually being the second best quarterback in this class outside of Caleb Williams, and it wouldn't shock me. So
Nice.
it wouldn't. His accuracy is elite. His arm talent is elite. If he's healthy, he showed what he could do at Washington. Also, the Seahawks pick is in. So, and
Yeah.
I've been spoiled on Twitter, so I already know. I'm sure RJ knows as well. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's on
yeah.
Twitter.
Well,
So I'm
it's
really
not
sure
Johnny
he doesn't
Newman. So.
It's close.
Yeah, it's pretty close to Johnny Newton.
Well, I didn't want to give it away to Hellman. I know he's a little.
Byron Murphy.
All right, now my last one. Predictions from each of you before I go on what happens at 24. And trade back can be an option, but just a prediction.
I'll give you one better. I'll go trade back. I'll go trade back, and I'm gonna give you the pick. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
They're gonna trade back, and they're gonna go Jackson Powers Johnson. That's my pick. But that's kind of just out of my hope. I don't know if that's accurate, but
All right.
I'm hopeful. for
Man,
that.
you went from like really confident to just like
I did,
super
but
weak,
then I
like-
remembered. I was really confident about it, but then I was thinking, I was like, Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of reports that the Cowboys and JPJ doesn't make as much sense as like the fans want to say it does. And I don't know. But if they trade back for an offensive lineman, that's a guy who I'd want the most. So, I mean, if not, then maybe they stand pat and they get like a Graham Barton, at 24, they get someone like that. But like if they're trading back and still going offensive line, how far back am I willing to trade? I'm willing to trade back, not out of the first round entirely. So I would like to make a pick tonight.
Okay.
If that's 32, it's 32. But
a trade back is your official prediction.
That's my hope and prediction. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna go Johnny Newton at 24. I'll just keep it simple. I like the player. He was a really good player in the Big Ten. He's a top 15 talent. So if you're getting him at 24, I do think it's a need given the situation with Osa's contract coming up. And I feel like Mozzie we're still waiting on. So, if Mozzie can start clicking, you bring in a guy like Johnny Newton. Osa leaving, after his contract's up in the near future doesn't sting as bad.
Okay, Howman.
So I think we have a trade.
Yeah, the
Minnesota's
Vikings are on the clock.
They traded up again.
I wonder who it's going to be. Oh, the pick's in. I guess we'll see here in a second.
Yeah,
Right,
I just got it spoiled for me. But they traded up to 17 for picks 23, 167, and a 2025 third and 2025 fourth.
It's not too bad.
You're in the territory where the Cowboys can afford that, but
Yeah.
I mean, they can afford a lot of things that they don't want to. So.
Yeah.
Howman, what's your prediction?
Yeah.
My prediction is the same as I predicted in my mock draft that came out on the site earlier today, which is they stand pat at 24 and take West Virginia center Zach Frazier with Jackson Powers Johnson still on the board.
It is notable that he got a profile, from Michael Gelkin of the Dallas Morning News. So I think that's fair. Okay.
Let's see what the Vikes are gonna do. Oh, that's good value. That's a nice
it's great value. Honestly, though, whatever offensive lineman the Cowboys take, I gotta just, I guess, give it time and be okay with it. Because if there's one position that they consistently hit on in the first round, it's offensive line. After how upset I was about the Tyler Smith pick and how wrong I was about that, I'm not jumping to any conclusions about it being the wrong pick if it's an offensive lineman.
RJ, quick question for you before you go. How upset would you be if the Cowboys picked Cooper DeJean at 24?
I mean, like knowing that Jonathan Brooks is an option, you know what I mean? Like that's the 10 out of 10. So I'd say like a 6 out of 10. You know what I mean? Because I know it can be so much worse. So that's really what I'm.
Yeah. I like Cooper DeJean. I just don't think it's a need right now.
Right.
I mean, I've seen Nate Wiggins and like I like Clemson, but just why cornerback with the first round pick with all these holes? I mean, cornerback is one of your better positions on the team at this point with Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs. So that's just such a weird, unnecessary pick, in my opinion.
It wouldn't surprise me though, because the Cowboys have done that in the past. So
yeah, I guess.
I would. I mean,
Mike Zimmer does love him some first round corners though.
Who does?
Mike Zimmer.
Oh yeah, Zim. Yeah, Zim.
I mean, he did it like every other year in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't see it happening here, to be honest. But I mean, Cooper DeJean is going to be a good player for somebody in the league, though. I feel like.
I think he's going to the Eagles. That's my prediction.
Oh, that makes me sick to hear that, because Cooper DeJean is going to be a really good player in the league. I feel like he's just he has so much ability that is so untapped at this point, and he's a great returner too.
That's exactly why he's going to go to the Eagles, because you like him.
Probably because they like to see me suffer. So
it's hard. It's hard to watch.
They love Philadelphia Eagles up here, dude, because of McNabb. So
it's just hard to watch how well ran the Eagles are at this point. I mean, they're getting ahead of these contracts. They're going all in, like Jerry said, and they're getting a Saquon, and they're doing these moves. And I mean, we're talking about cap space and money and all this. I mean, the Eagles are signing big, players to big contracts, and they're making moves and they're making it work. And just seeing the way that Howie Roseman operates, it's a little upsetting.
I think what's upsetting to me is that the Eagles are so smart and that the Cowboys still own them. You know what I mean? Like, because imagine if the Cowboys were that smart, how wide the gap could be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more.
On another note, with the Bengals on the clock, we do have another guest coming on to talk about the Bengals, and some of the more seasoned BTBers will recognize. Welcome to the stage, Matt Minich.
The GOAT.
Hey, Coach.
What's up? Long time no see.
Wow, Matt is the very best in the business and has the very best voice in the business. Y'all are in safe and comfortable hands.
I appreciate that.
Y'all have a good night.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, RJ. I appreciate it.
Thank you, RJ.
Matt,
Thanks, RJ.
Matt, hope the family's well. Y'all be well. See you soon.
Appreciate it, man.
Later.
Man, you're not Matt. You got a voice like
You do,
like,
yeah.
Like you could be like from the Lion King, bro. Like
Yeah, we got Mufasa right here for the new.
I'm gonna call you Golden Pipe.
From beyond the grave.
Yeah.
So Matt, the Bengals are on the clock, and looking at what's available, where do you think they're going? What are they going to do?
I mean, this thing is pretty much falling the Bengals' way. They've got their options. I think all along it's been O tackle or D tackle. Amaris Mims would be the top pick, I'd say, for the offensive tackles right now. There's a pretty strong following for Latham, but I think there was always the assumption that he was going to go high. As well as the Oregon State guy whose name I won't bother to try and pronounce because I don't have to learn how to say it since he was already taken. But yeah, I think that Mims would be the top pick there. I know that the offensive line coach, who Cowboys fans have some familiarity with, Frank Pollock, took a liking to Mims. So that could definitely be the pick there. They have Trent Brown. Trent Brown has injury issues, and is only on a 1-year contract. So that seems like the most likely one. And kind of sticking on the Texas theme. You're still looking at Byron Murphy on the board as well. They could use defensive tackle. They lost DJ Reader, who was really their nose tackle. But I think, despite only being 300 pounds, I think Byron Murphy can fill a lot of that similar type of role. Also has some, bring some pass rush juice to the picture. There's of course Johnny Newton from Illinois as well, but it seems that we on the internet love Johnny Newton, and the NFL seems to love Byron Murphy just from what from the things he hears. So I also think that I think Murphy might just be a better fit for what the Bengals usually look for, just in terms of some of his measurables and his versatility and how he plays around, things like that. So I would say it's Murphy or Mims.
Matt, I gotta give you some love too, because I saw your F the Steelers on social media today, and as somebody who obviously does not like the Steelers, I think we're in harmony. So when the Steelers lose football games, I think we're all really happy about that.
It's kind of a funny thing. Like, it's a funny situation for the AFC North where we all hate the Steelers, and yet they're the least relevant team right now.
I love hearing that. That is music to my ears. And I wanted to ask you this: who would you be upset about if they picked here at 18? Like, is there somebody on the board you're like, okay, I don't want them at this pick? Is there anybody like you're off? It's off your board completely.
I don't know about off my board completely. I would say that going with a Brian Thomas or really, I don't see going for a receiver at this stage. I think this could be a good number of them in the second round. I don't think there's anybody who sets himself apart enough to jump it at this point. Obviously, with the looming T. Higgins decision and Tyler Boyd, not with the team.
What are your thoughts on the T. Higgins part? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think they're going to be able to make a trade? Because I feel like the Bengals want more than what teams are willing to give up for him.
I don't think it's that. I think that the Bengals really value their players as assets. They don't value their players as assets. They value their players as players.
Yeah.
And they want him to play for them. So I think that the situation they're in is if somebody offers them something that's stupid value, I think they're going to be open to it. But they're not looking to trade him. And I think that to win the Super Bowl this year, like, what are you going to give us that's going to help us more than T. Higgins to do that?
Then that's why I don't see Trey Henderson leaving either. I don't see Trey leaving either. I think that whole thing's
yeah. I think that's just agent stuff going on. And
Yeah.
you know, like he signed the extension last year. I said that they've got him locked down for 2 years. So I really don't see either one of those things going anywhere.
All right. So obviously, this past season didn't go, according to plan for the Bengals, with Joe Burrow going down and everything. With him coming back healthy, do you think that the Chiefs are in a real position to contend next season? I mean, I know that the Ravens just brought in Derrick Henry, and the Steelers also improved their team as well. Where do you think the Bengals kind of rank ahead of next season?
I mean, they were a game away from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Without Joe Burrow being healthy for the majority of the year. At the beginning of the year he wasn't really healthy either. So, you can keep him upright. You're gonna have a really good shot in there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, they really show what they could do as a team, putting some games together without him. Kind of dissuading some of that. It's all Burrow talk that some people like to have. So, I think you look at the Ravens and. Overall, the Ravens I think they've lost more than they've gained in free agency. Honestly, the Bengals lost their offensive coordinator Brian Callahan, but it might have been a bigger loss to the Browns since his father Bill Callahan came along with him. So I think that's going to hurt, and Browns just find a way to not get things done overall. They managed to beat the Bengals, so I guess I can't say shit. But
Now, Matt,
Mims,
there you go. Mims
there you go.
Love it.
Great pick.
Yeah, I mean that's a guy I've highlighted for quite a while. And look, limited amount of college games. Like that's the big knock on him. Took him a while to get in there, and then he had an unfortunate injury. So only 8 games total in his college career. But I mean, first of all, he's a physical specimen. But secondly, like you watch his tape and you don't think you're watching a freshman or something. You don't think you're watching a guy that's only been playing for a short amount of time. He's really well refined in his pass protection. One thing that I have a lot of trouble evaluating in draft picks is at the linebacker position, who can get off blocks, because college linemen are terrible at climbing up to linebackers. I feel like the Mike linebackers never getting blocked, but like Mims is seems to have a really good knack for it, and it's interesting too because that's one of the harder things to do in run blocking. But that's where he's been knocked a little bit, is that he's not perfect in run blocking, his technique's not great. I think he does the hard things really well, and I think those easier things in the run blocking game, the can get cleaned up, especially when you're 360 pounds.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because, like you were saying, the Bengals have they have Trent Brown, they have some guys that they brought in along the offensive line, and it's not necessarily immediately evident where Mims is going to play, but at the same time, you can never have too many offensive linemen. Like you said, Trent Brown gets hurt pretty frequently. He's got a 1-year deal. This is an option where you take a guy that you like, and Mims definitely, from what we know from when Frank Pollock was the offensive line coach in Dallas, he seems like a Frank Pollock kind of guy, the glass eater type. Was
glass eater a thing in Dallas too?
I don't think he may have been something he said, but he didn't really tell shit until he came to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that really took off at Cincy. So I had heard it before though. But I think it's a great fit. And really, I don't know what his role's going to be in year one. He's a guy that people have talked about him as not having much versatility, and they've literally labeled him as a right tackle only. I don't understand that. He's got a limited amount of snaps, so you don't even really have to worry about a muscle memory sort of thing. If you wanted him to play on the left side, you certainly could. But they've got Orlando. They've got Orlando for a longer term. Part of the reason they have Orlando and got a pretty good deal on him is because they said, okay, you're a left tackle. You want to be a left tackle? Sure, be a left tackle. So I don't see him moving there permanently. Trent Brown has played both sides. So, I think Mims right now is the third tackle, but really Trent Brown is the swing tackle that would go over to the left side for them. And I mean, I don't know if I see Mims going inside. The weird thing about it is people in the fan base have talked about, well, maybe you could get a guy who's got some guard tackle versatility, but the weak spot on the offensive line for the Bengals is the left guard, and the right tackle is what they need. So it's kind of like it's a little funky from that perspective. If it was a right guard, right tackle, they could be like, all right, well, learn the position, playing next to the guy. But it's a funky deal, and I don't know if it's a great fit for Mims either. So yeah, I think he's probably gonna come in and learn from Brown County, as they're calling themselves, which is a pretty good crew to learn from. Those are some smart dudes in there, and between those guys and Pollock, it's a pretty good situation for Mims.
Yeah. So you had said, when we first came on, offensive tackle, defensive tackle. Obviously, they went offensive tackle. Is defensive tackle necessarily a need that they got to address later on? That you think they're going to be addressing later in the draft, or is that more so like it's something that they could address, but they don't necessarily have to?
Yeah, I could see them going, even twice on that. They've got a number of picks, so I would expect that they're going to trade up at some point because they've got 10 picks, and I don't see them using all those day 3 picks necessarily. But yeah, I think there's a possibility of that. I think they could really use another pass rusher, pass rushing interior defensive lineman. That's something they've lacked since Larry Ogunjobi left following the Super Bowl run. You got Sheldon Rankins in there now. He's on a pretty short-term deal. You got B.J. Hill, who isn't a great pass rusher anyway, but he's in the last year of his deal as a 3 technique as well. So I could definitely see them going for somebody who can rush the passer a little bit tomorrow night at some point, hopefully. And I think that the nose tackle position is really, they don't have like a true nose tackle at this point with DJ Reader gone, and Josh Tupou hasn't been brought back yet. They kind of do this with Tupou every year, though. He's always like their backup nose tackle, essentially. So I can see them looking for something there, but this draft is just not very prime with them. There's not too many great options there, and the best one, had the DUI, which is on top of not just an isolated incident, on top of all the other concerns about his maturity and things along those lines. So I don't know. I don't think that's anything that's gonna happen until probably day 3. But I can see like Evan Anderson's a guy they brought in who's real good at kind of holding the line from Florida Atlantic. I can see like a Fabian Levette from Florida State. Some of those bigger guys I think are still going to be around on day 3.
Speaking of edge rushers, the LA Rams just took Jared Verse out of Florida. Yeah. I actually, real quick, I do know Jared Verse pretty well. He actually played at they're showing some highlights at the lovely confines of the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. He played at SUNY Albany, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from where I'm at in Central New York, and he was a really good player of that. And then when Florida State picked him up, he was I knew how he was going to be a first-round pick. I want to get your thoughts on that really quick, since we're talking Jared Verse for a second. What did you think of him as a prospect coming out?
I liked him a lot. I thought he was a really good fit for the Bengals too, and he was a kind of a sleeper pick. If things didn't quite fall their way, if they didn't have a tackle option, and then honestly, I think I actually tweeted it out after the Trey Hendrickson thing came out. I was like, ooh, maybe we got to talk about Latu and Verse a little bit here. But I think he's a really good player, and he's one of those guys. He's not a super bendy guy. I don't think he's just he's a bigger guy who has that speed off the edge, can hold the edge in the run game a little bit. Kind of a little bit more like a Trey Hendrickson, honestly, as a pass rusher. A little bit more of a power guy, a little bit more discipline there. And I think a lot of times those bendy guys just get really excited about bending. That can cause problems when you got a Dak Prescott or a Mahomes or somebody running around making plays, in the backfield. So, I think that's a really good pick. Finally, these defensive guys are starting to roll now. I'm a little surprised, with that they didn't go interior, with both those guys still on the board and no more Aaron Donald. I think a lot of people have made comparisons between Johnny Newton and Donald and had made that link before. So but here we are. Those guys still sitting up there.
And now sorry. I was gonna say, and now the Steelers are on the board, and I feel like the Steelers are kind of the first threat to maybe take a center or like one of those interior offensive linemen that the Cowboys are looking at 24. I mean, I know that's a need for them. It'll be interesting to see how this pick, like impacts the Cowboys, and how it'll impact even the Bengals being in the same division.
Yeah, I think one of the big things with the Steelers lately is their brand of football. They've always been, they're built the right way, from the ground up. But the O-line hasn't been what it used to be in recent years. So they could definitely use that. I think Powers Johnson. I don't know.
Jackson Powers Johnson.
Jackson Powers Johnson.
So I mean, you're right.
Yeah, he could be in play there. And Fawatu from Washington, I think that people say he has Fatanu. Too many syllables. But they say he has 5-position versatility, so I could see him being a guy that could get into that mix as well. But yeah, also Byron Murphy's a pretty good fit for the Steelers too. And Steelers have a nasty way of getting the guys that you like. I feel like the Eagles are probably like that for you. I'm sure. I'm a South Dakota State guy too. I coached at South Dakota State. I went to South Dakota State too, and I'm sure there was a lot of pain when they jumped in front to get Dallas Goedert. Just for marketing
on the day that Whitney retired. Yeah.
No. And Matt, I was going to say too, because I know you mentioned South Dakota State. I know you have extensive experience coaching all the way like high school up to D1. So I love hearing your take on a lot of these guys because you know the game, you know it pretty well, and I've seen some of your stuff at the Jungle, as I like to call it. You do great work over there, and I do have to ask you, who are you dreading the Steelers picking right here? Like, is there one player you're like, they're on the board, and Byron Murphy, I believe, went to the Seahawks just a few picks ago. Who are you dreading at that point?
All right, I must have been busy logging on at that point. I'm wasting all my time talking about Murphy. But, no, I mean, honestly, I could see, I could really see Johnny Newton be a force, and yeah, I don't want him to end up in Baltimore or Pittsburgh. I could really see him being a force and being that Aaron Donald kind of guy. Taking over that mantle a little bit. We know how hard those guys are to find. We know how expensive those guys are nowadays too. So yeah, that's what I definitely don't want to see happen. I'd love to see him go for like the wrong receiver here.
The wrong receiver, nice.
Yeah, that's not how they usually do.
Who is the wrong receiver?
Oh, I don't know. Just somebody whoever's not really going to fit for that. But.
Yeah.
That's usually what the Eagles do at this point. They usually pick some bad receivers at the end of the first round. They did that with Jalen Reagor instead of a guy named Justin Jefferson. So we'll see. We'll see if the Eagles can do something bad. But I will say though, the Eagles, as RJ was saying before he came on, they're just running things so well right now. So any pick the Eagles make is probably going to be a good one that we're all going to hate. So
yeah. They're so weird about things. They just burn it down every couple of years, but they manage to rebuild it all the time. It's actually kind of like the opposite of the Steelers. Like the Steelers just kind of keep going and going and going every year. But like the Eagles is always like, why'd you fire that guy? Like Peterson.
Yeah, the Steelers. The Steelers are like
Super Bowl 2 years later. He's gone. They fired Andy Reid. Now he's like people think he's the best coach in the world. Like
the Steelers, on the other hand, are like. They're like the Terminator. It's like, man, how is he still alive? Like,
yes.
You throw everything you can at him, and it's like, oh, Mike Tomlin still has a winning record.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. It's funny too. I think there's some value in that too. Longevity. Like you learn some lessons. And I think the Bengals hired a young head coach a few years ago, and Zach Taylor. I think he has gotten a lot better over his time, and because he managed to stick around, and some of the game management and funky things that you saw with him earlier on. Now I think he's one of the better coaches in the league, and Mike Tomlin over the years has done some boneheaded things, but overall, I feel like he learns from a lot of those lessons. He tries a lot of different things, and he to me, the thing with Tomlin was that he was really good with people.
Yeah.
And I think we don't, you could say, man, anybody can win when you got Big Ben and Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. But I think now we kind of see what Bell was when he left, and we see what Antonio Brown is on Twitter or whatever, like in his personal life.
That's a good point.
Roethlisberger is off the field, so like it's like the way that he handled those guys.
Matt, I got to ask you this then. We were just talking about Antonio Brown. Here's my theory on him. He went crazy after Vontaze Burfict laid him out. Am I crazy?
Arizona State guy, by the way.
Of course.
He had like a 0 point something for his RAS score too. He was and like a laundry list of things. He's like the best the best undrafted free agent in Bengals history. But I mean, that's going down a deeper rabbit hole of
I know, right?
of concussions and things like that. But perfect.
Vontaze blasted him. I remember that game. He blasted Antonio.
Yeah, he was right, and that was like Juju's like whole claim to fame. Like the thing that Juju did as a Steeler was knock out Vontaze Burfict, and that's like that might be the highlight of his career overall. Definitely in Pittsburgh too. But he was a rough guy.
Yeah. And when Cam Hayward's on here, what are your thoughts on Cam Hayward?
What's that?
What are your thoughts on Cam Hayward? He's announcing the pick of the Steelers right now. I think Cam Hayward's a beast, even at his age.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's funny. He's announcing the pick.
Oh, of course they make a good pick. Gosh,
yeah.
Darn.
Who's that?
Troy Fatanu.
It is okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I got one right in my mind.
Man, he was so close to the Cowboys being able to get him too.
That's a situation where if the Cowboys could have traded up, I would have been happy about that one.
He's so good. This is the Steelers.
Would have had to move up about 5 spots. Man,
who are you guys hoping for the Cowboys?
He was one of them. Fatanu.
Yeah. Is everything in the interior?
Yeah, JPJ, Zach Frazier, maybe Graham Barton.
Graham Barton's the guy we like out of Duke. He's another name.
Okay.
He's got some flexibility.
But at this point, there's a lot available. I mean, unless we just see a run here with these next 3 picks of just bang, all these guys going away. Like, I still like the trade down option.
I mean, and like they've been saying, Powers Jackson might not even go in the first round. Like, there's definitely a lot of interior options.
Yeah.
Frazier, I've never seen in the first round. What's that?
I think Xavier Worthy's going to the Dolphins here. They want like the Lamborghini package. I think they want all the fast guys.
They already have enough speed. They don't need that. That's just unnecessary.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
I felt this too neat. Like that's.
But like the thing, I feel like people always talk about, like you talk about a defensive backfield, like a basketball team, like you want different guys for different matchups. But I think if you just have like the same guy a bunch of times on offense, what defense could do that? You have one fast corner matched up with Hill. Who's gonna match up with Waddle? Like you got 2.
They're bringing Worthy. If you have those 3, they're like the 3 fastest guys in the league on one team.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Plus, plus you give them the ball and jet sweeps and stuff that you do in the offense like that. And
Mike McDaniel would have a field day with that.
Yeah,
he already does, but
that'd be brutal.
Oh, I would say,
one guy I like, if you don't get a center right away, I don't know why more people aren't talking about Drake Nugent from Michigan. I think he's freaking awesome.
I agree.
And he's a glass eater too. Like a tough physical guy. He's not huge. Like he's like right around 300. Which so some like more down scheme type teams might not love him, but man, I think he's really good. He could be like a day 3 steal in the interior.
Chris loves Michigan guys. Matt, just in case you weren't following along, Chris loves all Michigan players. So anybody that comes to Dallas,
I've been outgoing that I would rather us shy away from Michigan players because it just has not been working out for the Cowboys. Mozzie Smith didn't work out.
Jordan Lewis plan.
I mean, Mozzie hasn't worked out. Schoonmaker was a waste of a pick. I didn't like it when it happened. Don't like it now, especially with how Jake Ferguson played. I mean, Taco Charlton over TJ Watt. I mean, it just
I forget about Taco.
yeah, it just I don't know. I mean, like that Taco one in hindsight doesn't hurt me as much because we ended up getting Micah Parsons, and I think if we had TJ Watt, then the Cowboys don't draft Micah Parsons, and
Oh
I
my
think
God, imagine those two together.
exactly, yeah. So I mean, I think it all works out, but like at the time, especially that next season, like yeah, it's just I'd like to shy away from those blue and yellow helmets, preferably, but.
Matt, we apologize to Cowboys Nation for letting the Steelers draft TJ Watt. We apologize.
That did hurt. Yeah, it did hurt, especially for a team that's like hasn't had a good right tackle since Willie Anderson. That's been painful.
Willie Anderson. That's that dude was a beast. Oh my goodness. I hear he's been working with some of the prospects too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's he's coaching on an individual basis. He works with a lot of guys. So
I can't remember who I saw him working with, but I know there was a high level guy, first round pick. He was working. I don't know if it was like a Tyler Guyton. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know he's been working with some of the higher end offensive line prospects, getting them ready for the draft. So if you can learn from Willie Anderson, you might have yourself a pretty good career. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. He was a good one.
Well, right now we've got so the Dolphins pick is in, which means the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock. They'll be making their move, and we do have we're welcoming in someone representing the enemy, our Eagles expert, and also just a great guy all around. You've seen his stuff at Bleacher Report, Football Outsiders before. Now at his own Substack, Too Deep Zone. Please welcome to the Writer's Block, Mike Tanier. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. You see Reggie over my shoulder over here?
Yes.
That's the enemy. That's the enemy right there. There's Reggie. Not the X-Men. They're not the enemy. They're helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I think it's a great time for me to step out and go do some writing on that pick for Cincy Jungle. But appreciate y'all having me. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, Matt. Take care, man.
All right. So we don't know yet what the Dolphins pick is, Mike, but what are we looking at for the Eagles? Where do you think that they're going, and what are they going to do that's going to make us Cowboys fans absolutely livid?
Well, they've just paid their wide receivers. Shouldn't that make you livid?
Yeah, it does.
The price of CD Lamb goes up about 15% per day.
Yep.
So there's part of it. All the cornerbacks are here. The Dolphins are about to take an edge rusher. All the cornerbacks are on the board. Quinyon Mitchell, who a lot of people in Philly thought the Eagles would have to trade up for, is sitting there.
Well,
and if they don't like him, Kool-Aid is also sitting there. And so it seems almost inevitable that the Eagles are going to take a cornerback in a few minutes.
What about Cooper DeJean? You like him?
I like him. The talk out of Philly was that it's that Mitchell out of Toledo was the guy. I think I have DeJean and Wiggins. I think I had it Wiggins actually first in my list, then Mitchell, and then I think I had Kool-Aid, and then I had DeJean, and then I had Terrion, and then like 150 other guys are just tall, fast dudes.
Well, if you get a Bama corner that was coached by Nick Saban, I think you guys are going to be okay.
Usually it's fine, absolutely. Of course, the Eagles have been trying to get all the Georgia guys.
That's true.
Pick some Bama guys in.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe even a year from now they go with another Georgia guy in Carson Beck. They do love to cycle those quarterbacks out.
God. No Georgia quarterbacks, please. No Georgia quarterbacks. Unless you're bringing Matthew Stafford in at the end of his career. We're getting confirmation on the Dolphins, by the way.
Nice pick by the Dolphins.
It's time.
Yeah. That's someone who was being talked about potentially for the Cowboys if they were to go defense, because of his ability. I mean, Chop Robinson was definitely an athlete for sure. I mean, like he kind of reminds me of Micah with the way that he's, quick and, I mean, obviously the Penn State connection, but I mean, he definitely brings speed that the Dolphins were talking about.
Right. Yeah. And all their edges are injured in some way. They've got all these guys who are injury cases, and that's a place where they can improve drastically I know some people were talking another wide receiver. Sure, another wide receiver, go absolutely nuts. But this is something where they can take a relative weakness and turn it into something closer to a strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whereas that's generally always been a strength for the Eagles. They've always been pretty good in the trenches, defensive line, offensive line. You've talked about the cornerback, and it seems like they're going with a corner here, especially with them all available. But is center an option? Could they go with like Graham Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson?
I'd be very surprised to do that. This is a team that's drafted interior line a couple times in the last couple of years, being aware that Jason Kelce was getting older. So Cam Jurgens is who's penciled in now. He was a second-round pick in 22. He's played a little bit. Tyler Steen was a third-round pick last year. I know he's got experience at center. So they've got options there. I'd be very surprised if they went for a center.
All right. Well, that's good news for Cowboys fans who want all those centers to be available.
Yeah, I mean, for the Cowboys, Jackson Powers Johnson looks like a Cowboys center to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
actually compared him to like a cross between Creed Humphrey and Travis Frederick.
That's a really good pro comparison.
Ooh.
So,
Mike,
say
I like that.
Right.
Yeah, we'll take
I'll
that.
take that.
That's
Right.
Yeah. Say more things like that. Say like
Yeah.
Jerry Jones is going to sign Dak Prescott tomorrow.
Well, so
Right.
we need
Well,
to have you say that to Jerry.
Some things are lining up real well for the Cowboys. All these receivers are on the board if you're looking to take another wide receiver. Again, interior offensive line, there seems to be a lot of options there. I'm just seeing if the Eagles have made a pick yet.
2 minutes.
So there's a lot. And, of course, anyone who's sitting late in this draft and just needed defense, the entire first half of the draft was wide receivers, quarterbacks, insane amount of quarterbacks, and then offensive linemen. So if you sit there and say, well, we can just grab defensive players, you're going to be in great shape.
Right.
Well, I think they broke a record too. I think the draft. I think it was the first 14 picks were offensive
Yeah.
line or offense in general. I think that was the first. I believe.
Yeah, it is a record.
That's crazy.
That has to be a record. Yeah, that's extremely unusual. And 6 quarterbacks in the top 12 is, of course, a record because 6 was the record in the entire first round coming into this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how shocked were you with Michael Penix Jr. being the pick there for Atlanta?
I was shocked, and even though I've lived a lifetime of watching the Falcons do unconscionably ridiculous and foolish things, this was just another level above that. I mean, you look at a team that should be in win now mode. You go out, you get Kirk Cousins, you get all these what I call Kirk Cousins comfort items. Like, I'll make sure we get Darnell Mooney as a slot receiver. Like, add all these other things in here. And you look at their roster and say, well, clearly they have a hold edge rusher because they haven't had a good edge rusher since that one time Vic Beasley looked good for 6 weeks or whatever. So here we go. They're going to get Verse or Latu. And I can't. It sounds like Kirk Cousins is quietly, he doesn't reach for the tequila. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's probably the chamomile tea or whatever Kirk Cousins does. But he reached for it at this point because he clearly saw a 1 or 2 year window, and now I think he's seeing a 1 year window. And I'm now wondering what the point of this Falcons. Every year I wonder what the point of a Falcons season is.
Yeah,
but I usually don't get there April 25th.
Well, Kirk Cousins was as surprised as everybody else. So I don't think he was expecting that.
Yeah. So the communications are an issue there. And I'm seeing these things where it's like Terry Fontenot is having a heated conversation with Arthur Blank. I don't think that is what we think it is. By the way, I think the Eagles are about to do something that we just talked about a moment ago. I don't want to tip the pick.
yeah.
Yeah,
we're
gonna see here. I think. Well, no, there's Howie Roseman and company. They're showing in the room there. It looks like he's pleased.
Happy Howie. He doesn't have to trade up. He can spend all Jeffrey Lurie's money. He loves doing that.
Well, that's the thing with Howie too. Like I from what I was reading earlier today, he was working the phones trying to move up. So this is kind of nice. He's probably happy about who he's getting right here.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm guessing he thought he'd have to get into the teens somewhere to get this particular individual. Probably was calling around. Maybe he got wind of just what was going on with the quarterbacks. Maybe he got like a smoke signal from Peyton. I'm taking a quarterback. Smoke signal from Fontenot or McKay, whoever he spoke to. I'm taking a quarterback. And we're like, ooh, it's going to drop. So he stayed put. He didn't overreact. And the Eagles are about to get the guy that I think.
It's got to be good because we're seeing all these daps in the draft room. So this is obviously a good pick. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm waiting for Goodell right now. Here they come right now.
I'm hoping my neighbor doesn't come knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell to talk about it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all are drafting well, so I, whoever it is, I'm sure it's going to be a good pick. I begrudgingly say that because obviously I want to see you guys last place in the East every year. That's just how it comes with the territory. Nothing, no hate there. We have a lot of I'm in Syracuse, so we have a lot of Eagles fans from the McNabb era. So
okay,
so yeah,
that's a strange pocket. With the Bills winning 13 games every year, we're sticking with the Eagles. I guess because the Eagles is.
Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, a lot of my friends up here, because I'm in my early 30s, and a lot of people from that era, they loved McNabb obviously, and they just became fans from Syracuse to Philly, and they haven't left. So
that's wonderful. I think about that in terms of Mississippi fans of Brett Favre, so Packers fans down there. I didn't think. Syracuse, I'm surprised that their grandparents were probably Jim Brown fans and they rooted for the Browns.
Oh yeah, we have some Brown. We definitely have some Browns backers up here too. Oh, here we go.
Here comes the commissioner, ready to make his pick. It's tough. It's tough watching the Eagles as a Cowboys fan because even when it looks like they're gonna do something terrible, like they fire Andy Reid or they fire Doug Peterson,
right?
Then they're just right back there. They have one bad year and they're right back in contention.
It's a pretty well-run organization. And one thing the Eagles haven't done phenomenally, that the Cowboys have done phenomenally, is draft in early rounds. The Cowboys stay in this place because of the Micahs, the CDs. Dak's a later round pick. But, you're usually bringing in Zach Martin, absolute stud in the first round. And therefore you have this core of superstar players. Diggs, I think he was second round.
Yeah, he was second.
The Eagles are generally more like, hey, we made 6 million trades, and look, we have A.J. Brown, haha. And, we managed the cap in this way, so we're able to keep Lane Johnson for 25 years and Jason Kelsey for 30 and Fletcher Cox for 50. And, whereas other teams, including the Cowboys, might lose these guys.
Yeah. Great pick. I think the Eagles fans are going to be very pleased with that pick. I think he's the top corner in the draft, in my opinion. So that's a good pick for you guys.
I'm behind you. Why are they cutting to Mulata's in Australia?
Yeah, Melbourne. Nice. That looks beautiful.
Melbourne? You recognize that that's Melbourne? Or does
I cheated. I can see it on the graphic.
Yeah, that's Melbourne. Yeah.
Clearly, from that skyline, he's in Adelaide. As an expert on Australian cities.
By the way, that's a guy right there, Mailata. That's a guy you find the most unique way to make an all-pro player. That's insane.
That was a weird one. I remember he was a 7th round pick coming out. I remember Jason Peters explaining to him how to put the helmet on. I showed up for rookie camp that year. Right. We looked over on the side, and Mulata is kind of like he can't strap it on and things, and Peters is explaining it to him. And from there to being not just a Pro Bowl player, but this sort of Philly legend type of guy where he's beloved around here. He's on the Christmas albums. He does all that stuff.
Well, he's got a great voice.
He can sing.
I just want to say something real quick. Micah Parsons on his Bleacher Report live show was talking about that Eagles pick, and he said, I'm utterly disgusted how lucky the Eagles are. He fell right into their lap. He checks every box. I think this is a terrific pick. I don't know how Howie and them get so lucky.
Luck. He goes, luck. It's luck, Micah. Maybe you get a little lucky because this guy does drop. And that the top cornerback on a lot of lists, or one of the top 2 or 3 cornerbacks, is there at 22. And this is a guy I was not able to get down to Mobile this year, but he really blew people away in Mobile. He's big. He's just better, the best athlete on the field a lot of times at that level. And again, this is a huge need for the Eagles. The Eagles would not have fallen apart last year at the end, I think, quite as badly. I think the collapse of the Eagles began with the fact that there was nobody besides Slay in the secondary who could cover anybody, and teams, including the Cowboys, in the second half of the year just picked that apart.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, you're not. And here's the thing with Mitchell too is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he stuck with Toledo when all the big the Blue Bloods were coming after him with some big money. So kudos to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all about NIL all the time. Anyway, you can be the big fish in the smaller pond. You can get out there and have these phenomenal seasons and just dominate these receivers. It's another way of doing things.
And it's worked out for him. Obviously, he's a first round pick in the draft, so he's gonna make plenty of money in the league now. So I think he's gonna be an Eagle for a while.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I can't say I'm necessarily happy for you that you got the guy you wanted in Quinyon Mitchell, but maybe just a little bit.
So, who are you guys looking for? Are you looking for a center or guard? Is that what the number one?
Yeah, Jackson
Mostly,
Powers
at this
Johnson.
point, center, yeah. Jackson Powers Johnson or Zach Frazier.
Graham
about
Barton.
the-
You're not a fan of Graham Barton, David?
I like Graham Barton. I like Jackson Powers Johnson more, but honestly, I forgot he was still on the board because I thought he'd be
you
gone by
like you like Frazier more than you like Barton, or
now. I have Barton as the second best center.
okay?
All right.
I have JPJ, Barton, and then Frazier.
Mike, how do you feel about Barton as a player? You think he's a quality prospect?
My problem with Barton is I don't have anything on him at center. I see him
Right.
at left tackle, and it's like, well, I could go back 2 years, I guess, because I know he played some center back there. I have limited finite time. I'm not going back and watching the Duke Blue Devils 2 years ago. Again, I was not in Mobile. I know he played center in Mobile, so they saw him at that place. So I can't see it. I saw it with Frazier. I definitely saw it with Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
But, again, he was playing left tackle. He looked at it at a high level. If he can handle snapping and he can handle the all the mental elements of it, which doesn't seem to be an issue, he should be fine. Was Frazier the one that had snapping issues early in his career? Let me look up my notes here.
It's possible. He was a 3-year starter and started about the last half of his games as a freshman too. So it's possible he had. I'll be honest, I didn't watch his games as a freshman.
No, I don't have him down. Someone out there had snapping issues, which is a problem.
Right.
I'm trying to think of who that was. Honestly, I know who you're, Mike. I know who you're. I know I've heard that reference.
Yes.
I cannot think of the name off the top of my head right now.
Right, and I can't go digging through, about 35 scouting reports to pull it out. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
John
it,
Machota,
won't, it won't be who the Cowboys take in the first round. It'll be fine.
John Machota just tweeted and said Stephen Jones is currently working the phones. Could be a trade back scenario.
of course it is. Why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I'm surprised because Stephen Jones has said that usually he waits for other teams to call him. So
Oh yeah, seriously.
If the mentality really is, we're just moving on from Dak next year, just moving on.
yeah.
You should probably try and get some draft picks for
Yeah,
2025
trade
so you can replace Dak.
Yeah. If you're moving on, you should.
I agree.
Right.
Oh, I think it was Zach. Or I think it was Seth McLaughlin from Alabama had the snap issues. I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was him. I was thinking about it because my buddy's a Bama fan. I feel like he was complaining about it. I
Okay.
want to say it was him. And Nick Saban wasn't pleased about it because you got to get because he kept snapping the ball terribly to Milroe, their quarterback.
Okay.
That's who I think it was. I want to say he's. I don't think he's going to be going early, but
Okay. I think I did see that. I see who the Jaguars picked. I approve of that. They did a good little job here because they traded down. They got some extra picks, and you're about to see that. Here they just picked it. They got some extreme
That's a
speed.
good pick. That's a good pick. If the Cowboys were to splurge and go at wide receiver, he would have been my go-to pick at this point. So
I think he's number 4 on the board.
yeah.
Well, now he's not on the board anymore.
Yeah.
I mean Brian Thomas is going to be a good. I think Trevor Lawrence will be pleased about that. He's a good player.
Yeah, this is good because they were they let Calvin Ridley go. I'm not sure Lawrence and Ridley connected 100% as well as they should have. It was
I
like
agree.
I don't know if Ridley connects 100% with us, all the time 100% either. So that might be the kind of guy he is. This kid can fly. This kid is going to be vertical. It's going to allow them to have Christian Kirk be that underneath guy, and I think that's going to be a real boon for Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor's going to be. I think Trevor's going to be very happy about this. I might have to scoop up Mr. Thomas in the fantasy football leagues this year.
Yeah, I could see him being getting a lot of targets early in his career.
Yeah. I mean, LSU had some good receivers this year, and they had a really good quarterback too. So no wonder they had a decent team. So
Right. 3 members of that LSU offense gone here in the 25.
yeah, they've done a pretty good job with those guys.
Yep. You know, LSU has had a history of having pretty good wide receivers, often in bunches, and sometimes with a good
Yep.
quarterback.
Yeah, I mean Jarvis Landry, Odell. You
Yep.
know, there's two that come to mind. I mean Odell, back when he was peak Giants with that catch, I believe it was on Brandon Carr, that one-handed snag that he had that was very infamous. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick,
like that catch was insane. I mean, peak Odell was fun to watch.
Nick Harris just said there are multiple offers on the table for the Cowboys at 24, and they're seriously considering it.
Oh,
Well, we only got 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if someone's moving up for a Wiggins or a Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it would make sense.
I would take Kool-Aid over Wiggins if it was me. I think
I agree. I
Kool-Aid's
would
gonna
too.
get stuff.
Well, there's been a lot of buzz that Green Bay really likes Cooper DeJean out of Iowa too. So maybe someone that really likes him is moving up to snag him away from Green Bay.
Right.
That's a good call, Hammond.
What if it's the Eagles that trades back up? They're saying what if?
Use two corners. I was saying that like throughout this draft process. It's like the Eagles go corner. Years and years and years ago, I'm an old man, by the way. Years and years and years ago, they did it with Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown, corner. And they were the cornerbacks, I believe, when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl with T.O. and all of that chaos. You talk about the
Yeah.
So it's that was before Howie, but I think Howie might have been working in the mailroom when they did that.
Maybe he's been holding on to that idea ever
Stephen
since.
Jones is still on the phone right now, so I mean it's got to be a trade down.
Well, yeah, they're probably finalizing the deal potentially for the move back.
As long as it's still in the first round, I don't want to move out entirely.
They just
Chris,
showed him.
you're
Looks like
going to be
he's-
sad. You're going to be sad, Chris, because they're probably going to move back out. They're going to move out of the first round. I just got this feeling they waited so long in free agency to do anything. They're just going to say, "Hey, Cowboys Nation, you're going to wait in the draft too." That's kind of where I'm at.
I'm sorry, may I interrupt? Are you down with the whole Tony Khan wrestling saga?
I'm a big wrestling guy. Actually, that's funny you mentioned that.
So if you missed it, Tony got pile driven yesterday in AEW. I don't know the name of the wrestler, but this wrestler who had been on the outs with AEW went up to make amends and shake Tony Khan's hand. But believe it or not, it was a setup, and he pile drive Tony Khan. Well, if you guys want to like do a little search on Twitter right now, Tony's got a neck brace on in the Jaguars war room.
Wow.
I'm trying to, and I missed it.
K-Fabi, my friends, K-Fabi.
Well, you know what's funny, Mike? I actually do a wrestling podcast every week, and I cannot remember who gave him that pile driver, because I'm more of a WWE guy than I am an AEW, but
Michael Gelkin.
I do
Confirmed
follow
the
them both.
Cowboys are trading down.
It's confirmed.
It's confirmed. We don't know what for, but the Cowboys
Right.
will not be.
Come on.
Cowboys are not picking at 24.
I'm sorry. They're punting on this year. I
I'm
don't
okay with
understand
it.
this.
No, I mean here's the thing. It makes sense because we need we need more picks. So I'm cool with it as long as they move down and they still get an offensive lineman. They still fill a need. Like, don't go out entirely and not fill that need. You know, like you still got to fill the need.
This would be great for a 7-10 team to do, or a team where everybody is 38 years of age. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Like it's like the Tom Brady in 2018 or whatever. Like whatever we do here, we have to think of the future. This team should be trying to win this year. This Cowboys team was a Super Bowl contender up until the moment they went up against the Packers and went and completely lost their poop, you know? So the idea that you're doing nothing in free agency, you're letting all these second-tier guys just walk out the door without making them an offer. You're bringing in freaking Eric Kendricks and Royce Freeman. You're not extending CD. You just did the 5th-year thing for Micah, which is the least thing you can possibly do. And you're like purposely letting the Dak conversation go.
We're
south.
trading down with the Detroit Lions.
And the Lions are eating your lunch.
29.
The Lions want a corner. The Lions are going to take the best corner available.
It's
The
crazy.
easy joke here is that maybe the Lions will use this pick to draft someone who knows how to report in as eligible.
Oh, nice.
Now, listen.
It's a
Will you be
corner.
upset if they move up right here, and then they end up getting Jackson Powers Johnson or Graham Barton or someone?
Oh, that'd be great. They love linemen. They don't
Yeah.
need any at all.
But here's the thing, though, guys. The thing is, everything that I've been reading and watching, the Detroit Lions have done the most work on corners this entire draft. That's what I've been reading. So
They
they're
need
taking
a
a corner
corner.
here, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
clear.
their cornerbacks either get hurt or go completely rogue and turn into Batman villains. They can't. You know,
Oh, what's the anyone know what the draft compensation, like the trade comp?
Not yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet.
Seen it yet.
But-
Okay, so who Detroit picked does not impact the Cowboys. If it means anything, it got spoiled.
Yeah, probably
No,
Terry
Not
Arnold.
right. I'm not going to say
Yeah,
it, but
I just saw.
I got spoiled. I haven't seen it yet. I just saw that Joel Embiid has Bell's palsy. So
Oh, dang, that's not good.
Jeez.
That's what Jim Ross had back in the day. Good old JR.
goodness. Oh, yep, there it is.
it's a
Not
good
who I
pick.
would-
though. I mean, he's a good
not-
player.
Not who I would pick of that group, but I mean, he can play.
Yeah, I like the pick.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a position of need. I'm not this crackerjack scout of cornerbacks that can be like, oh well, obviously,
I need to know what we got though.
Yeah.
I can tell the difference, in the way he flips his hips in cover 3. That this guy's like a half step quicker than that guy.
Didn't we say that the Lions had a 3rd round pick and they didn't have a 4th in our last mock? Wasn't that the Lions?
I think so.
Now, if it was for the 3rd round pick, I'm going to be ecstatic.
I doubt it.
The Lions have a 3rd round pick. It was from the Vikings.
Yeah, and they don't have
Right.
a 4th.
They do not have.
Oh, I just saw they get pick 29, pick 73, so that 3rd round pick.
Let's go.
There you go.
They also gave up 24 as well as a 7th round pick for next year.
Wow.
I think that's a good deal.
yeah,
That's not a bad deal.
That's
not
that's
a bad
great.
deal. Yeah. So we're not going to rip the Cowboys too hard. Don't think I can stay on. I don't think I can stay on until 29. I got to get some work done here.
Yeah.
No, you're good. We appreciate
Well,
you kind of hanging out with us for a bit. I mean, we talked some
Before
wrestling.
before you go, Mike, I do have the most important question. Despite everything we've said about the Cowboys tonight, and you think they're punting on next year, very well could be the case. They do still have a lot of talent on the books for 2024. Who do you think wins the NFC East this year? Can we get a consecutive winner for the first time in ages?
It looks like now everything that we're saying, the Eagles have a better top to bottom roster, and the Cowboys are second. And the Cowboys fans should find that frustrating because this looks like a team that's built to win 11 games, and no matter who they put at 29th, you're built to win 11 games and lose again. So it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy where this team that's in this position because of this endless frustration of losing in the playoffs is almost building to disappoint in the playoffs this year. And it shouldn't be that way. They should either be loading up and trying to bring in veterans, or at the very least, we extended Mike and we extended CD. We're extending Dak for another year or two, grabbing the best available athlete in this draft, maybe adding one, like a running back or something, and rolling. And they've chosen not to do that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Preach. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you again, Mike. I
much.
really appreciate you coming on. For anyone who is not following Mike on Twitter at Mike Tenier, go ahead and do that. Even though he's an Eagles guy, you have some of the best content out there, and make sure to subscribe to his Substack as well. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
My pleasure. See you guys.
Take care, Mike. Nice. That was cool.
Yeah, and now that we've gotten our Eagles guy out of the way,
That
we
was-
get to bring on a Cowboys guy.
That was a great trade. I'm very happy.
That
with
is a
it.
good trade.
That's a
And
beautiful.
here to talk about how good of a
Because-
trade it is.
Those offensive linemen, there's going to be a good offensive lineman still on the board at that point.
Well, our next guest maybe has some positive things to say. You know him from Blogging the Boys, the one and only Tom Ryle. Tom,
Hey, what's up?
how are you doing?
How you doing, guys?
The legend. There he is.
Yeah, and I'm happy.
I'm very happy.
I remember advocating for a small trade back a couple months ago. I thought that was a way they should go. I think this is nice how it plays out. Now they can gamble. Maybe Barton's still there, but that extra day 2 pick, I think, is worth it.
Massive.
Definitely,
So worth it.
With the lack of draft capital they had, that's really, I think, helps immediately solve one of their situations.
Now,
Hated to see the
said that,
Eagles. Yeah. The what?
They could package both of those day 2 picks and
They
move
move
up to
up.
Jonathan Brooks.
They could, yeah.
Don't do that. I wasn't happy about having the Eagles just have the great cornerback fall to them like that, but it was kind of an odd run there, and it's kind of it's weird that this is only really the second trade during the round, or is the third? No, that's right. The Vikings were like real busy today.
The Vikings moved up twice.
Yeah, so that's but still that's not been a lot of trade activity. But man, it's like everybody wanted a quarterback in the first half of the round, didn't they?
Yeah. Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. was a shock. I'm still not really over that. Sounds like Kirk Cousins still isn't over that.
Yeah. Was he the 8th overall pick?
Yeah.
Because I saw somebody saying we got to stop letting the Falcons pick at 8. They lose privileges.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
So Tom, so with the Cowboys moving back just a little bit, who's the guy you want to see off the board here in the next few picks?
Anybody not named Barton? How's that? Is that legit?
Oh, you're not a Graham Barton guy?
No, I said the guy who I want to see go off the board next.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody not named Barton?
I got
let's get a run. And there still have been so few defensive players taken.
Yeah.
Let's hope that the defensive run kind of picks up.
Well, Tampa Bay, I feel like could use some help. Cardinals could definitely use some defensive help.
Yeah. We had Richie Bradshaw on earlier, and he was saying, you gotta get some defensive help with that second first round pick that they have. So maybe that's the direction they go, and I think it'll kind of depend on the Cardinals. As long as they stay in that pick, I think Richie will be coming back on to talk Cardinals as well. Maybe he'll be happy. Maybe they go offense and he's not as thrilled with it. But it's looking like the Cowboys got on the clock, and Graham Barton was there, Jackson Powers-Johnson was there, Tyler Guyton was there, even Zach Frazier was there. Like I think it makes sense for them to have traded down at that point, and even if all those guys aren't still available, you're still gonna have a good pick from one of those guys if you feel good about them.
Now, Jane Slater did say that trading back and getting Jonathan Brooks was an option on the table. So, what if? I can't put it past Jerry Jones to go with the running back in the first round and make that splash decision. I know we're super excited right now thinking that, we traded back and we got an extra third and we're still going to get that, offensive lineman we want, but I wouldn't shut the door out on maybe something crazy like that or some other offensive player or defensive player. Like, it may still not be a lock to get an offensive lineman.
Yeah, and it's we are, after all, trusting the Jones family to do the right thing with what they've done with the trade back. Now, I got a hypothetical. Let's say they get to 29. If Barton's there, I would like to think he's the pick, but if Barton's gone, are you high enough on Guyton, or would you entertain a second trade back and just come in loaded for bear on day 2?
If JPJ is there and it's between him and Guyton, I would go JPJ. I'll go Jackson Powers-Johnson because I like him a lot as a prospect.
Now, I'm not up on his he's got a health concern, isn't there?
He did have a couple medical concerns. Is he rule clear, David? Do you know about that? Or
for JPJ?
Yeah, JPJ. I think
it's weird because of all the medical concerns, as far as I know, it's not been anything that's an active issue. It's just the fact that he's had injuries in the past. I think because we were saying, some upper body injuries, several concussions that kept him out of games. I don't think it's necessarily anything he's dealing with right now, or at least that's been publicized. It's just teams are looking at that and saying, well, if you've had concussions before, if you've had some injury issues, and you're an offensive lineman who every single play slams your head into another guy's head, can we invest a first round pick in you?
Yeah.
But I would say, Tom, you kind of posed the question of like essentially JPJ versus Tyler Guyton. My preference, if we're going offensive line here, my personal preference is Jordan Morgan, the left tackle out of Arizona, especially now that they've traded back. Doesn't seem like it's going to be trending that way. I could see it being any of these three centers, and I'd be fine with any of them at 29. I'd be fine with Tyler Guyton at 29. I like the guy. I'm not. It doesn't seem like I'm going to be upset, which makes me worried.
This Packers pick might make me a little upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been spoiled yet, but
it's so hard not to. Like, I don't want to be, but like I'm doing stuff with my Instagram page and different stuff.
Yeah.
And like I have the post notifications on and I just see it. Whenever we come to pick 29 though, I'm putting my phone on the ground because I doubt we're trading back a second time. But maybe they will.
I like Tyler Guyton though. That'd be a good value right here.
I would rather go with one of those centers. Tyler Guyton is he's a big he has a lot to, like he has a high upside, but I mean, there's a lot that needs work. And I guess that kind of the same was said about Tyler Smith and it worked out great. So, I mean, maybe if they think that they can do the Tyler Smith thing with Tyler Guyton, then maybe it works out well, but I don't know. I really want it to be Jackson Powers-Johnson. I really do, but I've seen a lot of stuff that it may not make sense for the Cowboys and that upsets me, but I don't know. I did see a comment earlier that said, I bet we pick Worthy. That would be something. The speedy wide receiver who just got the combine record. I think wide receiver is a need, though. Like I do. It's not as big of a need as offensive line, but it's something that the Cowboys will have to address in the near future because.
We've got Jalen Brooks.
Future Hall of Famer. Yep.
Yeah. What do we have?
Tom's also a Jalen Brooks fan, I think, too. So
yeah. Let's see.
Jordan Morgan, nice.
Yeah, there's your guy.
That's a good
man.
That Packers fan is not happy about it though. They're laughing at him right now.
I don't know why. Jordan Morgan's
he's upset.
Jordan Morgan's he's a dog. All right.
He's casual. Are you calling that cheesehead a casual?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
I ain't afraid to say it. Like, okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but I went to Arizona State.
You did?
I don't talk about it all that much, but our biggest rival is the University of Arizona, the school down south, as I like to call them. And so, like, right now they're showing highlights against Arizona State, and it's crushing me. But saying anything good about any player that goes to that school is tough. But Jordan Morgan is like, he's worth it. He's a good dude. He plays with that like Tyler Smith type of like physicality, that downhill motion. But he's a more natural fit at left tackle, at least coming out of college. So I really like Jordan Morgan. I loved the idea of Tyler Smith at guard and Jordan Morgan at left tackle. It's not going to happen. It goes to Green Bay. The Packers find one more way to stick a knife into my heart.
By the way, speaking of the next, the picks coming up here, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock and the pick is in. Did you guys see who they're going to be?
I didn't see it, but my prediction is Cooper DeJean or Dejan.
Well, I was going to say round 3, they're going to be having Ric Flair call the
That's pretty sick. That's random though. Is he a Tampa Bay fan? Isn't he from Atlanta?
He's a Bucks fan. He's a Bucks and a Michigan Wolverine fan.
I swear he's from Atlanta. Shouldn't he be a Falcons fan? I mean, I guess I'm from North Carolina and I'm a Cowboys fan. So
if he's from Atlanta, then he probably knows better than to be a Falcons fan.
Well, especially after what happened.
Falcons do kind of make some bad decisions for sure.
Yeah.
I have a friend named Jacob Moss. He may be tuning in because I told him to. He's a big Falcons fan and he was very upset about the pick. Rightfully so. That was a questionable decision.
That was great for Cowboys Nation though, because that's one less player there's one more player on the board that the Cowboys might have now at 29.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how I look at it. Y'all want to screw up before us? That's fine because that's going to leave hopefully the Cowboys not to do what the other teams have possibly done, which is screw up.
Oh boy.
I just saw it.
Oh boy.
I haven't seen it yet, but
that's gonna make people question it.
there is some dissension in the comments. Some people who think it would be a good idea to go ahead and get a receiver. Some who are not very happy with that idea of picking a receiver. But who knows, Chris? Judging by your vague, oh boy, maybe that's where it leads us in a little bit.
Oh boy. I will say that I don't know.
I'm going to make a clip of you saying that, and I'm
Oh,
just going to have that saved as a reaction.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the pick yet. Full disclosure. Hallman, have you seen it? Tom, you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, me and
I
Tom
haven't-
have seen it.
I'm not looking at Twitter, so I don't want to. I want to see it live here on the TV. Here.
I wish that like we could always just see it live. Like, why do people have to do their job and report stuff? Like, why can't we just watch the TV? Like, you know, like I don't get it. I have a lot to say about it, but I'm gonna wait because
I will say one thing, that according to all of the trade value charts, Dallas really won that trade.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think getting a third to move down 5 spots is massive because you can
Yeah,
get a very
I lost where somebody had posted off of one of the charts, but they like picked up hundreds of points in trade value.
yeah. I mean,
I like the Rich Hill one. I gotta see what the Rich Hill one looks like, because it's, to me, it sounds like they got a pretty good haul for what the Lions for what they gave up to the Lions. So we'll see.
I mean, I was going to be comfortable moving down just a couple spots and maybe getting a 4th just because they don't have one. So to get a 3rd, like, it's a win in my eyes.
Let me see. While we're talking, I'm gonna do some math on the famous Rich Hill points. I want to see what the totals are, because I have a good feeling it was a nice pickup. Oh, I haven't seen the pick yet. Still, I mean, obviously they're in a commercial right now.
It's
so.
crazy because Twitter has already told me what the Cardinals have picked. So like that's how ahead Twitter gets
No, that's what we get like towards the end of the first
towards
round.
the end of
It's
the
like,
draft. Yeah, or end of the first round.
Yeah, all of the reporters have been kind of playing nice. Suddenly say, forget it. We're just going to start breaking it all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's like 11 o'clock on the East Coast, and it's pretty late.
I know it's gonna be pretty late by the time we're done for me, and I got to work in the morning. But it's worth it.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, I was just on with the UK Cowboys guys. I was with them for the first 20 picks. Yeah, and they had some guy from Italy that was saying he'd had like 4 cups of espresso and still couldn't stay awake.
That's crazy.
So I did the Rich Hill numbers. They got a 30-point swing in their favor, which is the equivalent of a 4th-round pick extra.
Wow,
that's pretty good. They did good on that trade. Yeah, I follow that Rich Hill one. That's a pretty good draft capital board that I like to follow. So they done good.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if they can get Graham Barton, and then we'll see how good that pick is.
They done good with the trade. We'll see what they do with the pick.
Yeah, they've got one part of it down. We just can't screw up the next part. So
it's gonna be Jonathan
we have
Brooks.
a question for you.
I haven't seen anything, but I think it's gonna be Jonathan Brooks.
Chris, don't put that out in the universe.
I'm leaning. My gut is telling me it's gonna be Jonathan Brooks.
Oh, you're bad.
That's my gut. I mean,
your gut scares us sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian there in the
Your gut
comments.
scares me quite a lot. Mr.
My
Michael
gut bothers me a lot too. I have some stomach issues sometimes, and yeah, it's.
So I guess it all adds up, right?
It all adds up, yeah. But my gut is telling me we're going running back.
Oh no! Ah! I don't like this Buccaneers pick. Ugh. Son of a
I haven't seen it yet. It's about to show up.
Oh, it's not good. It's not good.
Oh.
Here's my thing.
Oh,
Here's my thing. I view Jackson Powers Johnson as the best center anyway. So
Me
I
too.
would rather have Jackson Powers Johnson.
I
But the
agree.
problem is that the Cowboys really wanted Graham Barton from everything we've heard. So,
Yeah.
and they aren't as high on Jackson Powers Johnson unless it's all smoke. So,
Wait, they can still get Johnny Newton too.
yeah, they could. He's still available, which is insane.
That's nuts. They
Believe it or
moved
not.
back. They get pick 73
and they could
and
still
still get Johnny.
Yeah, sign me up. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I mean that's top 15 value going at 29 and acquiring a third
tackle because Mozzie Smith didn't pan out. You just lost Jonathan Hankins. I mean, there's a lot that can happen.
Guys, here's what I was just thinking. Just with that Detroit pick, or the Detroit trade. So obviously, there's going to be a run on running backs. In the round 2. I'm wondering if the Cowboys, if they're going to move up, like take 73, and take 87 and go up.
It would.
Here's the question posed by Dana: with Graham Barton off, do they trade down again now?
No, I would stay. I think at this point, because at this point, if you're trading out, if you're trading from 29, I feel like you're going out of the first round.
I'm gonna say no, just because I don't want to wait till tomorrow. Like I want to watch the pick tonight. We've been patient. We've waited we've been on live for 3 hours and 20 minutes. And
we've been going pretty good. So
yeah, I haven't even had to use the bathroom once yet.
I had to exit stage left for a second because I've been drinking like 3 bottles of water since I've been down here. Yeah. So had to go.
Brian and me may be beefing.
I had to shut it down for a minute. I was like, I gotta go. I pounded like 3 of these bottles in the last 3 hours and 20 minutes. I'm like, I gotta run real quick, boys. And I know we're in good hands because the legendary Tom Riles on. So I was like, all right, it's a good time for me to go hit the head real quick. So that worked out.
I'm good at stretching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Darius Robinson. I don't hate that pick as a Cowboys fan, and I think that's I'm curious to see what Richie Bradshaw thinks of that one. And we'll have to see how Richie feels about it.
Yeah. So we might be able to bring Richie on a little bit after the Cowboys pick, but now that since the Cowboys traded down and they're so close to right after the Cardinals, we're gonna see what Dallas is doing, assuming they make the pick at 29 and don't trade down again.
Nick Harris says that that the phone is alive again for the Cowboys at pick 29.
Are you kidding me?
I'm for it. Especially
you're for it. You're for it until we trade down to an early second round pick, and then they justify taking Jonathan Brooks with their first pick this draft.
No, they'll take him with
Chris,
like their extra pick in the third or something,
Chris, Brian's gonna block you if you keep talking about this.
It's gonna happen, I'm telling you. And I'm seeing stuff that the Bills may be trading out too. So it's interesting if there's a team that thinks that they need to jump the Cowboys for this.
You know why the Bills are trading out, guys, right? Because all the receivers they wanted in the first round are off the board.
There's still Xavier Worthy. There's still Adonai Mitchell.
But I don't think they're as high on them. They have traded it. It's official. Bills traded 28.
Traded with who?
It doesn't say yet. It's been traded. I just got the update. I'm trying to be careful on Twitter right now because the Cowboys are coming up. So if any if the Nick Harrises or no C's of the world spoil it for me, I'm not gonna be mad at them. I'm gonna be mad at myself for looking at it.
Right.
Because they're just doing a great job covering it for us. So
I'm sure that the Bills traded to someone who is gonna take the player we want. Oh, it's
Probably.
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
They're going to Xavier Worthy, I bet here.
Yeah, I bet the Chiefs are actually trading
It's gotta be a receiver of some sort with their receiver room, especially after
Worthy. They want another Tyreek Hill.
They gotta go Worthy. Yeah. I'd be shocked if it's not.
For something we can mention from Twitter, Dallas is definitely working the phones looking for another trade back.
I just wonder.
Multiple
I mean,
of that.
I wonder if they would still move. I know there's still a couple more picks in the first round. I wonder if they go to like 31 or 32 and still get a first rounder and acquire another day 2 pick. I mean, I wouldn't be upset about that.
I doubt that anyone's going to give a day.
I know they like that 5th year of control, but we'll.
I don't see a team at 30, 31, or 32 giving up a second or third round pick to move up to 29 unless they
I would say a third rounder, yes. A second rounder, no. Third rounder, I could see they could do it. If there's enough, because the Cowboys could swap back like a 6th round pick or one of those comp picks or something.
I think you're looking more for like a 4th rounder if you're moving down a couple spots at this point.
Teams get desperate at the end because they want that 5th year option, so they might throw you a day 2 pick and say, hey, we want to get this. There's a guy that we want to keep him under that 5th year because especially with the way the salary cap is, you don't know what's going to happen with players in their 5th-year deals or their 5th-year options. So I think you could. I wouldn't say a second-round pick, but I could easily see a 3rd-round pick being swapped around. I don't see the problem with that. I think it's certainly possible. I wonder if the Cowboys trade out if they're going to trade out of the 1st round completely at this point.
Well, here's something I just thought of. It's been reported all week that the Commanders are looking to trade into the back of the 1st round, and they have picks 36 and 40 that they might be able to package to move up. And I forget, I feel like it was Diana Rossini, but it could have been someone else who said that the sense is that if they were able to trade back into the 1st round and land Tyler Guyton, that would be their dream scenario. So maybe the Cowboys, if they would rather have 2 second-round picks and they make that trade in the division and let Washington go and get Tyler Guyton, and then at pick 36, you can go ahead and get Jonathan Brooks, and you don't have to worry about having to trade up.
If they want to move up, I mean, they would never do this, but if they want to give us 36 and 40, that's fine.
Calvin Watkins tweeted 4 minutes ago, Dallas is trying to get more picks by trading out of this 1st round. We'll see if this happens.
Wow.
Yep.
Honestly, I would be fine with it, depending on what's there at pick 20. I mean, at this point, assuming the Chiefs go receiver, they're still going to have their pick of offensive linemen minus Graham Barton. And if they were willing to trade down the first time, they were willing to risk losing out on Graham Barton. So, I mean, in a year where they don't have a whole lot of draft picks and they have a whole lot of draft picks that they need to hit to fill these holes that they haven't addressed, I think this is the best strategy for the draft so far.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on the clock right now.
Don't sound so excited, Chris.
I'm not looking
we can't all draft Michael Penix Jr. 8th overall when we have a starting caliber quarterback on the roster.
Dana, you're right.
Honestly, Chris, you should be a Falcons fan. You love Kyle Pitts, you love Bijan Robinson, now you love Michael Penix Jr. Like,
Dana commented and said Chris is not even going to get his socks for Christmas. Facts. I'm just going to wake up and get nothing. And that, no, I mean, like, this is like my family taking away all my Christmas presents and just giving me all of my Christmas presents and my birthday presents on my birthday because it's December 27th. This is like, now I don't get anything.
Chris, I'll just send you some coal.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I got you, bro.
Man.
I'm in a commercial, so hopefully we'll have something here. I'm not looking at 28 or 29. I'm going to watch it live because I don't want anything spoiled. So,
right.
I'm just trying to see if we trade, but if I see that the pick is in, then I'm going to stop looking at my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
if they don't get it,
pick is in for KC, guys.
Right.
Yeah. Xavier Worthy is who I'm guessing.
It's got to be.
They want a Tyreek Hill speedster, so that's the guy. He's got the fastest 40 time in the combine.
That's crazy that the Bills.
You know what would have been a good way to have a Tyreek Hill speedster? Not trading away Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, yeah.
Hey, there's an idea.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Give me Jackson Power Johnson, and
I'm not a general manager or anything, but the logic seems flawless.
I mean, they got a good haul back for him, though.
They did, but what do they do with it?
Valid. I mean, it's a valid point. I mean, they can now at this point they're gonna take Xavier Worthy maybe, and then you know what? Maybe all is forgiven because maybe he's the Tyreek Hill that's at like 21, 22 years old.
Yeah. Now, like again, we're saying all this, and we're talking as if like the Chiefs are hard up and they can't win a game.
I don't mean to cut you off. So I'm looking here. So the Chiefs and the Bills. So the 28-32. The Bills got a 3rd round pick on.
Cowboys are picking, so I'm not looking at my phone. Not to interrupt you.
No, you're good. So Chris, I mean, a 3rd round pick at this point is not, it wouldn't be too far fetched. Yeah. I'm curious though. I'm curious to see who the Chiefs pick. I really do think it's going to be a wide receiver.
All right. 29. Lock it in. Hopefully Jackson Powers Johnson or Johnny Newton.
Oh, God.
I'm vibing. I'm vibing.
So you want either JPJ or no offensive lineman?
I just Tyler Guyton, like it's okay, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever they take, I'm not going to overly criticize because they hit on their offensive lineman. I'm going to trust the process, but like to me, it just makes the most sense to go with JPJ here.
I mean, I don't want to go back, but what spot was Travis Frederick taken in?
31.
31, so close.
Yeah, after they traded back.
Yeah, after they traded back.
Could history repeat that?
Yeah,
They might run it back here with a center and trade back like this. Not the 31, but the 29 and get the center. It's possible.
I'm nervous.
I know. I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
I'm glad that they're picking, regardless of maybe it would be smarter or not. I want something. Give me something.
Yeah.
Give me something so I don't have to wait until tomorrow to see another one. You know, I got to go.
Well, I don't think it's tipping too much to tell you that Will McClay was reported to be on the phone to somebody.
Yeah,
so
which means they're picking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Will McClay wouldn't be on the phone if they were trading.
I did just see something that from Nick Harris that they are going to make a pick at 29.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hey,
we're going to get to react.
there it is. Chiefs took speed.
Yep.
Makes sense.
That was pretty easy to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, the moment he ran that 40 and broke history, it seemed like it was inevitable he was going to end up in Kansas City.
Patrick Mahomes posted a guy running on his Twitter. It was just like it was like the running emoji.
He's just so good. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I was waiting to see if he was going to go to the Dolphins and play with Tyreek. That would have been insane. And Jalen Waddle. That would have been nuts.
It would have been disgusting.
But you know what? It's going to be disgusting because Mahomes is not going to be able to – I don't even think Mahomes is going to be out throwing this guy. So I think this is the perfect guy where Mahomes can just throw it 80 yards in the air and just let Xavier Worthy get under it. I mean, Kelsey's going to like this too because it's going to take some pressure off of Travis too.
I did just get spoiled.
I did too.
I'm not looking at anything. Y'all don't say a dang thing. Because I ain't looking. Y'all screwed up. You guys said you weren't going to look, and you looked.
I know.
Shame on you.
But I will say this. It's not a quarterback.
Oh, great. Wow. That really knocks it down. Are we getting a kicker?
So
I know the pick is in because I got the update on my device, but I did not look at the last part. It says the Cowboys pick ... and I said, get away from me. I don't want to see it. You guys are going to get my reaction in live time, so you might want to clip this.
How do you feel, David?
Huh?
So how do you feel?
Oh, don't give it away yet, guys. Come on.
Yeah. I
I'm just
can't.
gonna say how do you feel? Good, bad? Like you don't have to say who it is.
No, because Chris, I know how Howman is, so I'll
That's
pick
true.
on it real
Okay.
quick. I'm like, yep, I know who player we got. Because it's with either great value or not great value. It's just kind of. All right, come on, Goodell, get up there and make the.
I'll tell you how I'm feeling in like a minute.
Well, if they go to the,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how I really feel. I feel slightly annoyed because I picked my Cowboys jersey wearing number 24. This is a Morris Claiborne jersey, by the way, but I'm wearing it specifically because we were picking number 24. And I was like, it's going to be great. We're picking 24. I'll wear 24. Then they traded back and they ruined my entire thing. So,
Oh.
thank you, Todd. That's exactly what I was looking for in a response.
Oh God, I haven't seen anything.
I put so much thought into this and up in flames.
That was
Yeah.
Did you just see it?
Pick
Not
is
yet.
in.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you did like a exasperated sigh.
Yeah, I was trying to stretch my back because my back was getting tight.
Ah,
Oh God, I'm getting antsy. Oh, Goodell dropped it. That's bad. He fumbled the card there. That's not good. Man,
I hope it's not a receiver then.
hey, he fumbled it. Oh, here we go.
Thumb, thumb, thumb.
Oh, he's not even out to the podium yet.
Yeah. All right. I like it. All right. We're good. That's a good pick. I like it. He can play left or right tackle. That's perfect. You know
He's a
what that
big
means?
boy. He's a big athletic boy. I will say that.
And he played tight end. He played tight end at one point too. So he's very athletic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this pick. I'm happy, guys. This is a good one.
Well, they got their trade back and they got O-line help. We'll have
He's
to
hype.
see whether they got enough O-line help in this pick. But hey, now they've got 3 picks tomorrow. That's going to make for an interesting day too.
Yeah. Now I'll say this. Earlier I talked about my top 200 board and just how low Bo Nix was on there. Tom, since you missed it, I had him at I think 83. Bo Nix. So I was not a fan of the Broncos pick. But Tyler Guyton. So I had him with a day 2 grade, but at the very top of that day 2 grade list, and he actually came in, believe it or not, at 29 on my board. So as far as I'm concerned, this is right on the money value for him.
Micah seemed a little interested about it. He said, "I'm not mad at the pick. We need more depth at tackle. It's very interesting. It's not a bad pick. I'm never going to question Will McClay."
That's him not being ecstatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's him,
hat on.
That's him saying, "I can't wait to boat race this guy in practice."
Yeah.
Look, I like Tyler Guyton. I think my biggest issue with Tyler Guyton, we've lost Chris. I'm sure he'll be back. But
Chris got so
biggest
excited he had
issue,
to hang up.
huh?
He got so excited he had to hang up real quick.
Yeah. Oh, we've got him back.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
My biggest issue with Tyler Guyton is that he primarily played right tackle, and the Cowboy. I mean, your choices now are between your left guard, your All-Pro left guard moving out to left tackle, where he didn't look amazing, or a guy who's played right tackle the last couple of years moving to left tackle. Personally, and I've mocked Tyler Guyton to the Cowboys before, but I've said Tyler Guyton playing right tackle, move Terrence Steele to left guard, and have Tyler Smith out of left tackle. So we'll see if they entertain that notion once they get into camp. But all in all, I like Tyler Guyton. He's a very, very raw player. He reminds me of Tyler Smith in a few ways. They're not the same exact play style, but they're similar in terms of they've got traits. They got a high ceiling. This isn't necessarily someone who's going to step in and be as good today as he will be long-term, kind of like how Zach Martin was. But I think he's got a ton of potential.
Well, and don't forget that extra pick tomorrow. They could double dip on the O-line and bring in, interior line help and give them some more options. They seem to be kind of high on TJ Bass too. So
I like it.
Brandon's high on TJ Bass.
I love TJ Bass. That was my guy. I was hammering down when the Cowboys picked him up on the undrafted side. I was like, I wrote an article at the Blogging the Boys site where he was my pick for undrafted offensive player most likely to make the team, and he did. And I think he's going to stick for a while. I do really like Tyler Bass as a starter. But TJ Bass. Excuse me.
Tyler Bass is a kicker. I don't know if he'd hold up well anywhere.
No, I don't. He'd get run over by a truck. This is what happens.
Although if Zeke can play center, who knows?
You get the. Hey, TJ Bass would be a good depth piece at this point, considering Tyler Guyton's going to be your left tackle and Tyler Smith's going to be your left guard. So I'm okay with it. And then what does that mean? Brock Hoffman might be your center then.
Yeah, I think I would definitely say. I noticed that there was a comment about Bass not being great at center. I was thinking him strictly as the guard, kick Tyler Smith out, and then, like I said, maybe they get a center tomorrow, or they go with something else, and Brock Hoffman is your center, and we'll just see what happens. Which is kind of my attitude towards this season. We're just going to see what happens because there's a lot of weird things and some shoes that have to drop, and I don't know how angry the negotiations are going to get with a couple of their stars before it's over with, too.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of unfortunately trial and error at this point.
Yep.
I'm looking. I mean, I'm always optimistic. RJ will bust my chops. I'm always the glass half full. I'm always looking at the bright side of it. I think we'll be all right. We're gonna be taking a tortured path, I feel like.
Yeah. It's well, now you know why I'm going to be taking a little sabbatical.
And I was gonna say, and you're, and I was gonna ask you too, because I know you're doing some firefighting. A fun fact about me: I used to do. I was a junior firefighter when I was in high school. So I seriously, I wish you the best of luck with the firefighting.
Yeah. Hey, this is my first souvenir.
Oh,
I forgot to grab my flashlight. It was dark. Just a little pile of wood at construction. Was supposed to be watched. Somebody ran off and left it, so the neighbors called it in. I got there after the brush truck had gotten there and was out playing water on it, making sure they got out of control. Yeah. And just dark. I didn't grab my flashlight and just stepped off in a hole and went tumbling down. It was just, yeah. So it was fun, but I got up.
How you feeling now? You feeling all right? You okay?
Oh yeah, I got up, helped finish with the little mess until the guy that was supposed to be watching it showed back up, and we'll just wait. There's just not a whole lot.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, Tom. That doesn't sound like a fun trip, so to speak.
No, it wasn't. Bad fun.
Yeah, my bad.
Thanks a lot, Brian. Yeah, we've got a pretty good little department, so I'll just keep working with you. Anyway, guys, it was fun. Now we know what happened, and like I said, I kind of feel good because I was kind of pulling for the way it played out to begin with. So,
yeah, getting that extra pick makes me feel a lot better. I would have liked Tyler Guyton at 24, but getting him at 29 and getting a pick out of it feels real good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
I think they you can play the what if thing with Barton, but they might have been going Guyton anyway, so who knows?
Right. Well, and with Barton, like when Mike Tenier was on here and he was talking about Barton, he was like, my biggest thing with him is I haven't seen him play center because he's been a left tackle the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He played center, but I think it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to really project. Maybe the Cowboys didn't feel great about making their next starting center a guy who hadn't played in 3 years.
Yeah, that could be. So, all righty. You guys have a good one. Keep the faith. We'll talk. We'll and David, I think I will be talking to you come September. So,
all right.
All right. Bye.
I love the teaser. You have a good night, Tom. Thank you.
Take care, Tom. Oh, I think I'm picking up that blogging the boy stuff. Excuse me, sorry, had a little tickle in my throat here. I'm actually as we're all talking here, I'm just kind of looking at the board and looking at some prospects. I think this breaks pretty well for the Cowboys to get a center in round 2. Honestly,
yeah. I mean,
they're all there.
I mean, we'll see what San Francisco does because they're on the clock right now, and they could easily take Jackson Powers Johnson, but if he's still on the board going into the second round, I mean, the Cowboys would probably have to trade up for him at that point. But if the Cowboys are able to get Tyler Guyton in the first round, Jackson Powers Johnson in the second round, I think very, very few people would be upset with that as your first 2 players off the board.
I mean, let me here's how I have my centers. I have. And it's no particular order because I think they're all day 2 caliber picks. Jackson Powers Johnson. Well, let me rephrase that. Jackson Powers Johnson to me was a day 1 player. I think he's a top 32 player. But I think Jackson Powers Johnson will be great value in round 2. Zach Frazier, great value in round 2. And I think Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia is another guy that you could take late round 2. And I bet you could sit there at late round 2 and get a potentially a Frazier or Van Pran and not have to do anything. That's my take. And then the only thing I worry about is I feel like my gut feeling is telling me there's going to be a big run on running backs in round 2. And I don't want to, obviously you don't want to panic and pick somebody where you maybe could have gotten them later. But part of me is like, well, I kind of want the Cowboys to take a running back at 56. We have what? We have 50, we have 56 and 73 and 87 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Realistically, we could package two of those up and move around a little bit. If they feel like they really want to get JPJ, for example, early tomorrow night, that's a possibility. And I wouldn't be mad about it. I mean, I think moving up and getting another player, or I think, Chris's favorite guy, Jonathan Brooks, I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, realistically for me, I would probably package 87 and 73 and move up. I would keep 56, keep your options open, maybe move up, get a running back and then a center in the round, and so essentially make it 2 second-round picks, and then you get your center and you get your running back, and then we sit on the sidelines till round 4.
Yeah. Now, on the topic of Chris, he just let us know that his laptop is going through some tough times right now, so he's not able to hop back on. He wishes he could be here for the tail end of this draft, but he got to be here for the most important part, which is the Cowboys making their pick.
Yes.
The 49ers pick is in. I just got it spoiled on Twitter, and I'll hold off.
Don't be doing this to me, man. Don't do this, because I'm Goodell's walking out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he is definitely walking gingerly. That back is he's probably sore right now. His back's
yeah. Well, I'll just say I have some things to say.
Oh boy. I'm looking forward to this. I will tell you in a second what I see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Niners.
So he's coming up, and
oh, Ricky. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ricky. I mean, that's not a terrible spot for Ricky. I had him as a day 2 guy, early day 2, so this isn't a bad spot.
Yeah, I actually, going back to my board, I had him 32.
So you're right there on the money
so
again.
31, not bad.
Arizona,
and of course, we mentioned earlier, he started, like Jaden Daniels, he started his career out at Arizona State. He was one of like 4 or 5 top prospects at receiver that they brought in all at once. They brought in Johnny Wilson. They brought in LV Bunkley Shelton, who I think he just entered the transfer portal out of Oklahoma. They brought in Elijah Badger, who's been at Arizona State, just entered the portal. And then Johnny Wilson, who's in this draft, and of course, Ricky Pearsall. Of all those guys, the only one that wasn't a 4-star was Ricky Pearsall. And he was like the quote unquote worst of the bunch. He ended up being the most consistent. He's an electric route runner. He's got very, very good hands at the catch point. Isn't necessarily the most athletic. What's that?
What's his 40? What's he run 40-wise?
I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, but I mean, he's got good functional speed. Like he's definitely I don't want to say he's like a Hunter Renfrow type and pigeonhole him into that role, but
yeah.
Kind of similar vibes. And I think in that 49ers offense, that is a good insurance for Ayuk with his contract coming up.
Dude, I'm looking at his stats compared. They just put the graphic up. Like, what were y'all doing at Arizona State with him? I'm just saying, like, his Florida stats were nasty. Like, he had 9 touchdowns in his career there, and he only had 5 at Arizona State. Like, man, what are y'all doing down there? What's going on?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know. I trust me.
We could have a whole. I mean, we've been on the live stream now for 3 hours and 47 minutes. I could spend 3 hours and 47 minutes talking about what Arizona State was doing.
And by the way, I'm looking here. Oh, he's 40 times good. He's a 4.4 guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. 4.4 for a guy who's, I mean, what, 6'1", just under $190. That ain't bad. And watching him play in the SEC, like he had a pretty productive career in the SEC, not with the Sun Devils, but with the Gators. He definitely got himself into this position. I'm here looking at his highlights. I'm just I got it on mute. Man, he makes some great catches. Like that, like, and I've seen. I mean, I've seen some of his stuff, but like, you would be more familiar with him with his Arizona State, days than I do. I would say, like, I'm sitting here looking. He makes really good circus catches. I would say, yeah. See, I can see that from the highlights. That, like, I know he runs a 4.4, but like I guess the knock on Ricky is like he doesn't play as fast as he really is. And I don't know if that's really a knock. I feel like I don't think that's always a bad thing, because sometimes you don't have to be running full speed to run your routes the right way. Because a lot of times you can just set your guy up and just like one quick step the other way, and you got the guy going the wrong way and you're wide open. So,
and the Bills have traded down again. Now the Panthers are on the clock. So the Panthers didn't have a first round pick because they sold the farm for Bryce Young. They've just traded. Panthers now have the 32nd overall pick and a 6th round pick. And the Bills received pick 33. So they'll have first pick tomorrow and also a 5th round pick from the Panthers. So
I actually don't mind this for the Bills, because they're, you know what they're going to do here? They're going to sit back. They're going to look at their board and really work on things overnight. And they're going to be ready to rock and roll, I think, tomorrow night. And I think they're going to pick a really good player. I'm wondering if they moved out of it because of Ricky Pearsall.
I think that's entirely possible. Brian, thank you for hanging with us tonight. Go watch the press conference. I can almost guarantee they're going to say Tyler Guyton was at the top of their draft board.
He'll be like the top guy. Like,
yeah.
I'm just looking at my list of receivers here. Like, I could see Adonai Mitchell being the first pick tomorrow.
Honestly, I think you could go right now. The Panthers need some receivers for Bryce Young to throw to.
That's true. And if they don't, then it's Ladd McConkey. Ladd
McConkey's fun.
I think he's got a chance to be a really good ball player in the league. I don't. So I'm not saying he's on the same tier as like the neighbors. That's funny. The neighbors. Neighbors. Harrison. Rome Odunze. Like but he's one of those. He's like the next tier down. I put him the same as Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities in their game. But for the record, I had Ladd McConkey down at 44. So not as high on him, but I mean, at this point, if you're the Panthers, and if you went Ladd McConkey at this point, I don't think it's the end of the world. I have Adonai Mitchell as a day one grade at 28. So I think he's by far the best value pick for them at this point. But we'll see. We'll see. Who's making the pick here?
Good pick. I like this. This is another receiver that I know Colleen's going to like this one. That's a great pick. I won't say anything.
I think that's probably good enough of a hint.
Oh, wow. That's a good pick. I think Bryce will be happy about that in Carolina. Wow. Look at this. Hey, we've been on for like 4 hours and we've been kicking butt. This has been good. The time's been flying. We got through the entire draft. Well, I should say you did. I took a quick head break, but that's what happens when you drink. I'm pounding all these waters. I'm on bottle number 4. So
yeah. Well, we've talked about Xavier Legette before on the pod. We're fans of him. I think we always talked about him as an option for the Cowboys in the second round at pick 56. And I swear I didn't plan this out, but he ended up being on my board at pick 56 as the 56th best player for me with a solid day 2 grade. So again, like I think Adonai Mitchell was the better pick. I think there are a few receivers that would have been a better pick for them at this point, but I mean, Xavier Legette, at a certain point, like you can talk about the value and could they have gotten them later on? Like who knows, but they got a guy. Like they got a good receiver. He's going to be a good fit in that offense. Him and Bryce Young should have some good chemistry early on. So that's a solid pick for them.
And the Bills are going to get probably Adonai Mitchell at 33.
Yeah. And hey, credit to them because one, the fact that they traded out from where they were and the Chiefs moved up, knowing full well the Chiefs were going to take a receiver, that they were probably going to take Xavier Worthy. tells you what the Bills thought of Worthy. And then again, they trade
Wait.
down
Hold on.
another
Let me
team.
stop you there. They didn't think, so the Bills probably didn't think he was worthy of the 28th pick at that point. Sorry, I had to do it.
This is why we keep you around.
You're usually much better with it than I am, but it came to me.
You know, we've been going for 4
Keep it
hours.
good. You're the one that, like, some of the things that come out, I'm like, dang, why didn't I think of that? That's darn good. Sorry, continue.
But no, two different times the Bills, who clearly need some receiver help, they traded down with another team that was moving up very clearly to take a receiver. So that, I think that tells you how they feel about the depth of this receiver class, and they're number one on the board starting Friday night. So we won't be live streaming tomorrow night just because it seems like a lot.
Yeah, you know what? This has been fun, bro. Like, and you know what? Obviously, I'll be watching along. Day 3, I'll be watching as much as I can because, shout out to my my oldest daughter. She'll be turning the big number 5 on Saturday. So my daughter was born on draft weekend so I remember right before she was born, the Cowboys they picked Tony Pollard. So I'm going to be spending a nice Saturday with my wife, my 2 daughters. We're going to celebrate birthday, and I'll be keeping an eye on things because I know Trey Lance is already our 4th round pick. So day 3 I'll be keeping an eye on, whatever the Cowboys do, the rest of the time. But tomorrow night's going to be fun. Dallas has 3 picks, so I'm looking forward to it. I know we'll be talking to everybody, in the next few days as our next episode of the Writer's Block will be dropping again on Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you guys between now and then.
Yeah, and I'll be having content coming out on Blogging the Boys, which of course this podcast is not affiliated with. But you can find all that over at bloggingtheboys.com. I'll have you putting thoughts out on Twitter tomorrow and Saturday. Before we part, I do want to share 2 tweets from Duke Manyweather, who, of course, is an OL guru. A lot of Cowboys offensive linemen end up going to work with Big Duke. His word is not necessarily gospel, but it's pretty darn close to gospel when it comes to offensive line play.
Yeah.
When Tyler Guyton was drafted, he first tweeted out, "Tyler Smith, All-Pro OG. Maybe you guys will stop arguing." So it seems like he's excited about Tyler Smith theoretically staying a left guard.
Yeah.
And then he quote tweeted someone asking if they should be excited about Guyton at left tackle, and he said, "Cowboys don't miss on 1st-round offensive linemen." So it's got the Duke Manyweather seal of approval with Tyler Guyton theoretically. Huh?
Good enough for me if Duke's telling that,
If Duke likes it, then I'm fine. I was already fine with it, but if Duke says it, then that's just one more thing to be excited about. But that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you, everyone who hung out with us, interacting with us in the comments and watching along. Thank you to all of our wonderful guests, and for Chris, who his laptop didn't want him to be here for the tail end of that. Which is really unfortunate because he would have been super pumped about the Leggett pick there at the end as well.
That's his guy.
So his loss, but thank you, everybody. And we'll have our next episode of the Writer's Block coming out next Tuesday. We'll be doing a full recap of the entire draft, all of their picks, all of our thoughts about it, their undrafted free agent pool, and anything else that comes out along the way. So be sure to check back there.